There was some very interesting news that came out today. This involves Alvin Kamara, so there's some speculation here. I'm not going to say exactly what I believe, but I'll tell you in a second. But let's go ahead and let's dive into the actual reports before we just get to my unwarranted opinion, right? So let's go ahead. It is a Wednesday, so keep in mind a player not practicing doesn't guarantee that they're going to miss. But if you see like Lamar Jackson not practicing on Wednesday, I'm assuming Lamar's not going to play. Brock Bowers doesn't practice Wednesday. I'm assuming Bowers isn't going to play. I mean, going through looking at our next option, Mike Evans doesn't practice Wednesday. Neither does Godwin. I'm assuming that we get Godwin, but no Mike Evans. Kyler Murray looks like he is probably going to be missing this week. I've gone and just looked at every account I could possibly find talking about this. And obviously it's going to be super important to see the practice report that we have with Kyler Murray on Thursday as well as Friday. But realistically speaking, I would say that if you had Kyler and you were planning on going through and starting him, you probably need to pick up a second option for you to look at. So let's go ahead and see. This is what I'm trying to find here. So Alvin Kamara, injured ankle in practice Wednesday. He was limited. You go ahead, you click on this post, and what do you have everybody saying? Injured, end quotes. Shrek meme. The quote unquote, I'm getting traded soon injury. AKA, we're going to shelf him before we trade him. So what I have already done is with Kendre Miller, I moved him up our rankings dramatically, where even in a shallow format, I know we've been talking about him in the waiver wire videos over the past few weeks, but maybe you were in like a 10-team league where you were going, you know what? I really don't want to drop any of these options I have on the bench. They are extremely solid. Well, now at this point, even in a 10-team league, you can go ahead, you can drop that solid option you had on the bench, and you could pick up Miller if your league mate did not already beat you to it, because this is either going for a Kamara trade or this is going for just a serious injury on a team that's playing for nothing. Now, the other trade rumor that we have surrounding the running back position is actually involving Breece Hall. We had reports coming out today that obviously the Jets aren't playing for anything. We already know that, but that Breece Hall is on the trade block for contending teams. And there are a couple of rosters that could use a running back. Go and look at Los Angeles losing both Amari Hampton and Najee Harris. Go and look at Kansas City throwing out a decrepit, and I was going to say Nick Chubb. We'll get to Houston in 1 second. Kareem Hunt out there and Isaiah Pacheco looking like the worst running back in the league. So there's a chance that we see one of these running backs dealt to. Honestly, you can throw Houston in the mix as well. The Houston Texans, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Kansas City Chiefs. I know some people have speculated with Kenneth Walker. That doesn't seem as serious as what we have with the Kamara and the Breece Hall rumors, but super, super interesting there. Okay. Now let's go through Christian Watson back at practice in deep leagues. You can look at picking up Christian Watson. Super surprising that he is back this early. Shanahan says George Kittle has a chance to return in week 7. So that means you're not going to get Kittle this week. Ricky Pearsall, Jawan Jennings don't practice. The quote with Shanahan was he was calling Ricky Pearsall a long shot. So I think it looks like Kendrick Bourne is probably going to be startable this week as well. But I think that should be it for the news that we have today. Let me just go ahead and see if there's anything else. I don't think so. Now, what I do know that we need to do is we need to go ahead and send out a free question in the chat, because we had 100 likes, and every time we had 100 likes on the live stream, we go through and we send out free questions in the live chat. So again, to qualify for those free questions, all you got to do is drop a like on this live stream. I am live streaming every single day until Christmas, making sure we answer as many questions as humanly possible. And then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat so I know who to send those free questions to. Now, of course, you're going to always get guaranteed free questions, the way that you could do this is just stupid simple. All you got to do is go ahead and take advantage of the offer that we have on Underdog Fantasy, where if you go over to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you are going to get the best offer that Underdog's had in the 5 years I've been working with them. That's why more people have signed up with code FLOCK past 5 years than, I'm sorry, in the past 10 days than I've seen in like 5 years. But anyway, you play $5, then get $100 added to your account with code FLOCK. Plus, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game. And you'll get free questions that you can send in these live streams. And I'm going to be streaming every single day until Christmas. So you should have plenty of opportunities to get those free questions in. You can find the link to Underdog Fantasy in the description, as well as the live chat. But let me go ahead and send out a free question to somebody here. Let's send this to JJ the Jet Plane. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream, my friend, and excited to send this over to you. And we have a lot of questions that we need to get through. So we are about to run through like 100 trade questions that were sitting on the site. JJ the Jet Plane, I just found you and just sent you over a free start set question. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this stream. Now let's go ahead and let's answer this question for Los CV29. Trading Rome for A.J. Brown and Kendre Miller. Now, with Miller, like I said, we moved him up dramatically in our rankings with the Kamara news. But realistically, I don't necessarily know if we can call him a must-start running back anytime soon, right? Like, I'm not ranking him as a startable player this week. And you kind of need a startable running back this week. So I'm fine if you're down tiering from Rome. But this feels like the price you'd be paying on Miller if you knew for sure he was the starting running back here in New Orleans. Like, I don't know if you can pay this price right now just with the Alvin Kamara rumors. Seems like we need some certainty there. Now, let's check this out for Chris. He's trading Devonta Smith for J.K. Dobbins. Frankly, it's just going to come down to your team here, right? You're starting Derrick Henry, Javonte. It's a league in which you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. Wide receiver, we have Addison, Johnston, Waddle, Evans injured. I would say you need wide receiver more than you need running back. So in that instance, I would go with Devonta Smith. But in reality, they are relatively close for me in my rankings. Now, Mari Leo, can't pronounce that. I'm an idiot. Trading Jalen Waddle for Trevion Henderson. While I do like the upside of Henderson in the long term, especially post Antonio Gibson trade, I think with the Tyreek injury, you have to go ahead. You have to take Waddle here, especially with this being a league in which you can start like 4 wide receivers a week. So I would go ahead and I would just hold on to Waddle. Now let's move this over. This is MX 4-1, just lost Hampton. Also considering making a similar trade for Lamb. Just scared about Egbuka, not gonna lie. Egbuka to Nico, a lot of people would view them in the same tier at this point. Like I have Egbuka wide receiver for my weekly rankings. Addison to Godwin, I'd view it as a downgrade. So here's going to be the God honest truth with this. Most people are going to tell you that you are losing this deal. Most people are going to say that you would rather have Egbuka here and it's not going to be close. Egbuka has been clearly much better than Nico Collins so far this season. And historically, what you see is these rookie wide receivers get better as their rookie season goes on. Now, for me, I think that Egbuka is going to be a very unique case where you will have Evans coming back healthy later in the year. You will have Chris Godwin eventually expanding his role. And with that context, I think I would say I'm still going to prefer Nico Collins over Egbuka. Now, I'm not confident enough to tell you that that's an easy call. So realistically, I'm going to mark both these sides as a winner here because I know as soon as I tell you to make this deal for Nico, everybody is going to just come with pitchforks screaming at me. Egbuka is going to be the wide receiver one in Tampa in the long term, but I would say, I don't know if the market share numbers when you have the healthy guys will be similar to what you can get with Nico in Houston. Now, DXXVN trading Walker and Olave for Lamar. Realistically, here you have Bijan, JCM, Amari, and Hampton injured. You have Drake May and Caleb. I don't know if you can afford this. Your running back room with the Hampton injury is tough. So I like the value, but honestly, I think I'd hold on to the depth. Now, that man Zane trading Etienne and Nico for Achane and Tet. Yeah, you're upgrading at 2 spots here. You do this, in my opinion. Nico to Achane, give me Achane. Etienne to Tet, give me Tet. Jackson Last trading Woody Marks, Trevion Henderson, and Tet for Travis Etienne, Zay Flowers. For me, I think I may hold on to the Tet and Henderson side. Like, I have Etienne on my own fantasy football team, and I'm not opposed to selling him. Because realistically, with Travis Etienne, he doesn't have the receiving role. And not only does he not have the receiving role, but at the same time, he is getting pushed for touchdowns in the red zone as well. So if you're with a losing record where you're like, hey man, I can't wait for the long-term upside with Trevion, I need points now, sure, go for it. But if you have a winning team, I could very easily see you taking the rookies. Like my 4-1 team, I would take the rookies. Now, P-Sade Scott trading Ginty and Brian Thomas for Olave and Igbuka. Ginty and Igbuka are going to be very similar for me rest of season. Going through and looking at what we have when it comes to the rest of this roster with our needs, we have Rashad White, Kyron, Michael Carter, Scat. Wide receiver is not the best. So yeah, I think you can go ahead and take Igbuka in this instance based off your team. Now, Asher Fro trading Diggs and Nico for Jacobs, AJ Brown, and Kittle. So Diggs to AJ Brown upgrade. I mean, I went through and I offered Diggs on my team for AJ Brown. Got rejected last night. Let me know if y'all can hear that humming noise. George Kittle and Nico Collins versus Josh Jacobs. It's an 8-team league. So realistically, I think you just kind of want the best player in the deal. Who do you have at tight end? We have Ferguson and Laporta. So if you have Ferguson and Laporta, I'm okay with you going and getting the best player here with Josh Jacobs. But it looks like we hit 200 likes, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions. Again, all you got to do to qualify to win those free questions will be drop a like on the stream, as well as drop your flogfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win them, I know who to send it to. And then also, let me remind y'all, please, if you are a paid member of the site, for the love of God, I got the tracking numbers for these packages. They are on the way to Austin, Texas. As of this morning, there were only 1,200 of y'all that had filled out the Google form to get free merch. So if you're a paid member of the site, please go fill out this Google form. Let me know what hat you want. You can see the beautiful model wearing one of the hats right now on your screen. Because the hats are getting to my house next week. I went on Amazon. I ordered all the shipping stuff. I'm going to be spending the next month of my life turning my house into a distribution center, shipping out a bunch of stuff for y'all. So again, it's all free. I paid for the hats already. I'm paying for all the shipping already. We had the best year ever on YouTube, and we've had the best year ever on the website. So I wanted to do anything that I could to get back to y'all. Figured free merch should be a great way to do it. So please, if you're a paid member of the site, go ahead and claim that, because the fiance is not going to be very happy with me if we have 2,500 hats sitting in our living room for the next 2 years. Now let's go ahead and send out a free question to somebody. This is Jake to Fake. Let me see if I can find you on the site, my friend. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. And yeah, again, if you are a paid member of the site, you can find that on the post section of the website. Okay. And let me see if I can find Jake to Fake. Just found you, my friend, and just went ahead and sent you over a free start sit question voucher. Really appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. Okay. Now, Bauer Rangers trading Ginty for London. I have them ranked comparably in our rankings. I would say realistically, you're not in the best spot at running back. I would say that you're actually maybe Actually, you're in a strong spot at running back with Ginty. After you were to make this move, you wouldn't be. So for me, I think I would ask for more if we were trading away Ash and Ginty, because realistically, I think you could get a lot more if you were to wait just 1 week when he crushes the Tennessee Titans. Now, Legend Wait for It Dairy trading Ladd for Mike Evans. I have them ranked back to back. Realistically speaking, with the practice report coming out of Tampa and the reports coming out of Tampa today, I probably do need to move a Ladd McConkey directly ahead of Mike Evans. So let's swap this. If you were a team that needed wins now, I think you go Ladd. If you're 5-0, I think you could make an argument for Evans. But in general, I definitely need to have Ladd McConkey ahead of Mike Evans in my rest of season rankings. So we'll fix that right now. After the update with the report that we got out of Tampa, I moved Ladd to wide receiver 28 in our rest of season rankings and Mike Evans down to wide receiver 30. And actually, we'll move Diggs ahead of him as well. So we'll have Mike Evans at wide receiver 31. So in general, I think you opt to go with Ladd. Gaming email says, hey, Mason, I'm a mother flocker. How do I get my free questions I upgraded on the site? If you're an annual mother flocker, you should have free question vouchers for roster reviews, start, sit, trade. You can just submit them on the site. You should have the vouchers to ask me those questions as long as you use code FLOCK. If you don't have the vouchers for whatever reason, you can email support@flockfantasy.com to get some help. Okay. KM says, what's the news out of Tampa? Sounds like Evans was not practicing and they don't have any hope for him to practice anytime soon. Okay. Now, YP says, I'm 3-2 right now. My team's been underachieving, maybe weather the storm until Hampton comes back. So Bucky to Nico on a 3-2 team. You're going to get more games played from Nico rest of season. Marv to Amari and Hampton. What would we have left over at running back? We'd have Achane, Chase Brown. We can get into the starting lineup. Wide receiver, we'd have Nico. It's a league where you can start up to 4 wide receivers weekly. So I actually think that you can do this, my friend. But obviously, a lot of it hinges on if you do end up getting Amari and Hampton back in 4 weeks from now. Now, I'd fried trading Brian Robinson and Sutton for Devonta Smith and Trevion Henderson. So Brian Robinson's effectively a 0. Sutton to Devonta Smith's a clear downgrade. We have Chase, AJ Brown, George Pickens at wide receiver, though. I would do this if you have a winning record and we can look for the long term with Trevion Henderson. Obviously, if you had a losing record, Henderson's just somebody we simply couldn't trade for. Now, Munoz trading Swift, J-Mo, Ladd McConkey, and Igbuka for Bucky Irving and Puka Nacua. So Puka, completely different tier than any other player. I would rather have Puka and Bucky. It's not close. And a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league, that is. So yeah, I think you go ahead and make this deal. Izza says, what is Flock support email? Support@flockfantasy.com. As Zay Money trading Breece and Metcalf for Jamar Chase. I have Breece and Chase ranked comparably. So if this was a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league where you don't really need the depth and you don't need the running back, then sure. But realistically speaking, I have Breece and Jamar Chase ranked like 2 spots apart from each other. Like Breece's range of outcomes here is he either stays in the Jets and is a true workhorse with the Braylon Allen injury, or he ends up getting dealt to a contending team. But either way, it could be a great spot for Breece. Okay. Now, Dispatcher with our next one. Trading Waddle and Pollard for Henderson and Marv. Waddle and Marv, we have ranked back-to-back here. Pollard versus Henderson. I would clearly rather have Henderson. So if you were a winning team where we can think long-term, give me the Trevion Henderson side. Now, 46 Timmy trading Higgins, Bowers for McBride and Brian Thomas. I'd rather McBride over Bowers. I'd rather Brian Thomas over Higgins. So yes, I very clearly do this. Quinn Taylor trading Javonte, Jordan Mason, Michael Pittman for Sutton and Trey McBride. I think so. Yeah, it's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. I mean, I can't exactly see the team. If it is a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex where you have plenty of running back depth, obviously it kind of hinges on that fact. But if that's the case, then I think you run it. Because I still do view Trey McBride as a super safe option here in the long run. Okay, Frank, I was asking if y'all could hear that. Nobody in the chat said y'all could, so let me turn that off. Yeah, I'll turn that off if y'all can hear that on the stream. I was assuming y'all couldn't. But it does look like we had 3 likes on the stream, so let's send out some more free questions. Again, all you got to do to win free questions to qualify will be drop a like on the live stream. And then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win, I know who to send the free questions to. And also, of course, if you wanted to get guaranteed free questions, you can do so by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy, where if you go over to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for tomorrow night's game. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state, and you can find that link in the live chat as well as the description. And again, we've actually had like more people sign up to Underdog with code FLOCK over the past 2 weeks than we've had in forever. And it's because Underdog's that $100 added to your account after you play your first 5 is insane. Let's send this out to Big Poncho. Appreciate you hanging out with us in the stream. Let me see if I can find you on the site, my friends. Okay, Big Poncho. Just found you. Just sent you over a free start set question. Again, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this live stream. Okay. Now, trading Purdy and Hubbard for Brian Thomas. It's a super flex league, so if it's a super flex league, I think you'd need more value for Brock Purdy. I'm going to go with the Purdy side. Okay, next to first, trading Jordan Mason and Metcalf for Chase Brown and George Pickens. Yeah, I think you're upgrading 2 spots. I think you're going to get Aaron Jones coming back soon after the bye. S'more is trading Kyron and Addison for Barkley and Hunter. I'd rather a Barkley over Kyron. Hunter and Addison don't really matter in a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Especially looking at our wide receiver room, we have plenty of guys that we can start. So realistically, yeah, I think we go ahead and I think we take the Saquon Barkley side. T-Bone trading Scat for Michael Pittman. I would rather have Scat in a vacuum than Michael Pittman. I think you're going to see some touchdown regression with Pittman. Okay, now Mark with our next one. Trading Dart, Addison, Hunter Henry for Daniel Jones, Jamison Williams, and Dallas Goedert. And so 1 quarterback format, so Dart's a 0. Hunter Henry to Goddard, give me Hunter Henry. Addison to J-Mo, give me Addison. How bad do you need a quarterback? You need a quarterback for the next 2 weeks? I mean, I would like to stream if you could. Do you have any streaming options in your league? Lawrence is on the waiver wire, man. I would just go ahead. I'd keep Addison. I'd keep Hunter Henry. And just see if you can stream Lawrence, to be honest. Okay. Now, let's move this over. E. Morales, 2 and 3. Jefferson's on bye, but is it worth it rest of season? Getting Lamb, Higgins, Fields in a different trade this week for Lamar and Ferg. That's great. Trading London to Jefferson, clear upgrade. Walker to Bill is a downgrade for me. At running back, we have Achane, and that's about it. You're getting an extra game out of London. It's a deep format. I think that this comes down to your personal preference and your personal feelings on Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. If you think that JCM's going to crush, then you can go for it. So, again, in my opinion, this is a personal preference type move. And it's going to come down to what you assume you're getting with Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara rest of season. Because if he turns out to be like the next Woody Marks, then this deal may be a tough one, considering that depth matters in your league. But in a vacuum, I'd probably prefer JCM and Jefferson. Now, E. Morales trading Walker and Devonta Smith for Kamara and Ladd. Walker to Kamara, give me Kamara with the hopes that he ends up getting dealt. Devonta Smith versus Ladd, I haven't ranked back-to-back, personal preference type thing. So, yeah, I'd rather go Kamara here and just hope that we end up getting a trade to like KC, to Chicago. Get a little something going. Now, let's refresh this. Now, Bumpy Sacks trading Purdy and Worthy for Baker and Scat. Purdy to Baker, upgrade. Worthy to Scat, upgrade. 2 quarterback formats, so the quarterback value gap actually matters a ton. So, yeah, I would do that. Phil says there's a new voucher bundle on the site. Yeah, it's about the same thing that it usually is, just buying a team review. That, like, you know how usually if somebody buys a team review, I manually give them the free questions. Now, if you get a voucher bundle, you'll just get, for the same price of the team review, you'll get free questions for trade, team review, and start set. So, if you're going to buy a team review, usually I just give out the free questions anyway, but if you do it with the discount bundle, it'll be automatic, so you don't have to wait for me to look at your team. You'll get the free start set question or the trade question right away. But it's not anything big. It's essentially the same thing as team review, to be honest with you. Too much JV. Trading Carter, Brian Thomas, Devonta Smith for Jefferson. 10-team league, give me Jefferson a run. You have Jonathan Taylor, McCaffrey. Yeah, make this deal, then just go pick up running back depth pieces. Yeah, I saw that there was a... Let me pull this up. I'm going to be honest with you, Chief. I'm not the best of sitting here and talking defensive player trades. It's hard for me to know the true impact of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's pull up the trade that we have from Shefty. This is the Jaguars get Greg Newsome and the Jets 2026 6th-round pick. The Browns get Tyson Campbell and the Jets 2026 7th-round pick. For me, what do you want to say? Like, I'm not going to be able to sit here and help you much when it comes to defensive players. It probably makes the Jags defense better, but yeah, I don't know what it means for fantasy purposes. Okay. Now, Mavium says, I'm 2-3. Not digging the offer, but they are open to counters. Do we take, leave, or counter? I think you are trading the 2 best players in the deal to downgrade. Like, I have Josh Allen on my own team. I'd sell Josh Allen for JSN straight up. So, I'm going to be honest with you, Chief. I see this type of move. I'm like, hey, this isn't even worth countering, in my opinion. Especially, are you telling me you have Jaden Daniels? Why would we trade Kyron and JSN for Josh Allen? So, in my mind, this isn't a fair deal whatsoever. It's not worth a counter. I would say the Kyron and JSN side easily wins it. I'll send you over another free trade question voucher in case he sends a different one. Okay. Now, BW Herman trading Sutton for Jalen Hurts. We have Kyler at quarterback right now who just got injured, and we have plenty of wide receiver production. So, yeah, I would do this. I think go get Hurts. Like, Kyler may be droppable at this point. Now, why not Keem, no brim? Something along those lines. Trading Ladd and Metcalf for Igbuka. Yeah, I think you can go Igbuka. Most Igbuka trades I see, it's like, this is tough. I think I may rather have the other side. Not that one. That one's clearly Igbuka. Pablo Jack, Barkley versus Lamb and McBride. I have Saquon Barkley on my own team. I would trade him for CeeDee Lamb and trade McBride in a heartbeat. But my situation is I need wide receiver. I need tight ends. I don't necessarily know how bad you need that. So, again, it is maybe going to be a little bit more up to you in that case. And also, I'm 4-1, right? So I can look at the long-term upside that we have with CeeDee Lamb. Okay. Now, it looks like we just hit 400 likes on the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions. Again, all you got to do to win those free questions will be drop a like on the live stream, and then also drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win them, I know who to send that free question over to. But Bank, always happy to see you trading Judkins and Debo for Henry and Kamara. I think you are downgrading at 2 spots. I think this is the type of move you make after it's official that the Chiefs just traded for Kamara. Now, Case Solid are trading Pollard, Hollywood, Higgins for Gainwell, JMO, and Flowers. So we did get official word that Jalen Warren's back in practice. Jalen Warren's just fine. But Hollywood to JMO upgrade. Higgins to Flowers upgrade. Pollard looks like he may be nothing. We don't have much running back depth beyond this, though. I have Pollard and T. Higgins on my team. I'll make a trade like this. But again, maybe you need running back depth a little bit more. Okay, so let's send this free question over to Los Galos. Let me see if I can find you on the site, my friend. Really appreciate you hanging out with us. And of course, again, if y'all want to get guaranteed free questions, you can always take advantage of the deal on Underdog. Go over to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code FLOCK. Los Galos just found you on the site and just sent you over a free start set. Use promo code FLOCK, and then you'll not only get free questions for this stream, but you also get $100 after you play your first 5. It's the best offer Underdog's ever done. And you'll get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the game tomorrow night as well. Underdog Fantasy available almost in every single state, and you can find that link in the description and live chat. Okay. Now, Nathan says I'm 1-4, so no Breece would give me the 101 as well. So if you're a rebuilding team, this is a Superflex Dynasty League, if you can sell Breece for a future first and a second, you get the 101 with your own pick. Let's do it. And now, Axcrid says I'm 2-3 and got offered this. Would it help me? It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. The depth's not going to matter. So here's the thing, man. I have concerns long-term with Igbuka falling from, like, right now he's wide receiver 5, right? My rankings this week. But realistically speaking, I have, like, super long-term concerns of when Godwin's 100%, when Evans 100%, what's the target distribution in this offense. I'll still expect Igbuka to be the guy, but maybe it's a little bit closer. But with that in mind, I like the value that you're getting here just on a 2-3 team. I think you have to not think so much long-term. I think you do have to think more so short-term. And Igbuka's like wide receiver 5 in my rankings. So I would hold on to him for the time being on a team like yours. Now, Stigum's trading Hendo, Igbuka, and Diggs for CMC. It's a league where depth actually does matter a bit. Leftover receiver, we'd have Lamb, Adams, London, Golden. Running back, we'd have CMC, Chase Brown, David Montgomery, Quinshon Judkins. So we have enough running back depth that we can throw a running back in flexes. So I'm going to go ahead. I will take the CMC side of this. Now, Alras Musen says 3-2, quarter point per carry, 2 in points. Check out the depth of the team. Trading Judkins to Hampton, downgrade. Myers to Nico, upgrade. Say Judkins to Nico, upgrade. Myers to Hampton, upgrade. Diggs to Kittle, upgrade. And we pay Kincaid to get it done. Yeah, where we do have plenty of depth as well with this. So yeah, I think you go ahead. I think you make this move. If you were 1-4, we won it. But long term, obviously, that puts your team in a really good spot. Now, A-Rod trading Igbuka for Chase Brown and Waddle. Here, I think you prefer Igbuka easily. Yonder says either Waddle or Worthy. I'd rather sell Worthy than I would sell Waddle, to be honest. With Rice coming back next week. Okay. JCM to Sharp downgrade, but the Lamb upgrade here is massive. In a league in which you only start 2 receivers in a flex, if you start 2 wide receivers in a flex and it's a 10-team format, I think you have to go ahead and make this move. You have to get the best player in it, which is CeeDee Lamb. I would prefer selling Worthy over Waddle, though. Now, Jay Stark trading JSN and Tracy for 2 future firsts, Brian Thomas and Derrick Henry. 1 quarterback league, so the future firsts aren't as valuable, but realistically, give me Brian Thomas and 2 future rookie first over JSN. I would do that. Now, Brash, Swift, Rome versus James Cook and Terry. Best player in this is James Cook, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. Wide receiver, we are in a really good spot. So realistically, yeah, you can make this move. I'd go get the best player, which is James Cook here. Now, Gavin Peranto, running back this week, I would start Trevion Henderson over Brian Robinson and Tracy. Wide receiver, give me Tet McMillan in a great matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. And then in the flex between A.J. Brown and Ladd McConkey, it's going to be close, but we're going to go A.J. Brown. Ire Fire, wide receiver, I'm going to go Jacoby Myers over Romeo Doubs with no Brock Bowers. And then for the flex, dear God, put into a really tough spot. I truly do not want to have to rely upon Hassan Haskins the first weekend. I have Henderson and Haskins in the same tier for me, but full PPR format, I'll see what the projections end up saying, but I think you may just take Romeo Doubs where the Packers project to be the highest scoring offense in the league. Now, Parker here at running back. Breece is the auto start with no Braylon. Wide receiver, Tet against Dallas. And then in the flex, we will go with Judkins over the other receivers. Now, Candyman, running back, you start Scat and Chase Brown. And in the flex, we're going to go with Tet and Michael Carter. And then obviously you could pivot to Kendrick Bourne under the scenario that Kittle, Pearsall, and Jennings all miss. Now, Eric Freeman, for tight end, we have Zach Ertz. Frankly, I would be fine streaming. Running back between Chase Brown and Michael Carter, I have them both in E tier for this week. I'm maybe a little bit less excited about starting Michael Carter if you have no Kyler, just because the spread in this game is going to be larger. But can y'all spam the chat? What are you going to do? Are you going to play Michael Carter or Chase Brown? Chase Brown, the thing is, you just have the worst matchup you could possibly ask for going up against the Dallas Cowboys. We got Carter, Brown, Carter, Carter, Brown, Carter, 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 Brown, Brown, Carter, 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 Carter. That's how I have it in my rankings, but it is really tough. If you wanted to just throw your hands in the air and play Keenan, like you can in a full PPR league. Now, Notorious Noto, here for the flex. If Kamara misses, you go Miller. If Kamara plays, you go Wandale. But honestly, that just friggin' sucks because obviously you got to make the call by Thursday. Now, turn up KG, trading Puka for ETN and Nico. This is Puka, not even remotely close. Again, Puka and McCaffrey are the two players in a tier where they are untouchable. You would not sell these guys under any circumstance. Now, Rifra, here for the flex, it's Rachaad White if you have no Bucky Irving. If Bucky Irving plays, instead you pivot over to Chris Olave. But Rachaad White's plan A. Hudson says, is JCM worth the risk? Leaning JCM or Diggs help? For me, in a full PPR format, I may actually go Ladd, to be honest with you. My wide receiver rankings this week, I have Ladd a tier ahead of Diggs. JCM's in what projects to be a very good game environment, but very similar to what we said with Woody Marks last week. I feel like we can wait to see it before we believe it. Can we just see him be the true, like, lead back rather than just having the majority of the stuff in the committee? Like, he's still in a committee at the end of the day. Now, let's refresh this. This is from Cali Jack. Cali Jack, always happy to see you, my friend. Quarterback, Love and Fields, I have ranked back-to-back. You have an implied team total of 29.5 points for the Packers this week in comparison to 18 with the Jets. But obviously you can say that Fields going to give you the rushing upside that you're not going to get with Love. I'm going to go with Love over Fields this one specific week with the great matchup. We auto start Kyron in a good matchup against the Ravens. And then for the flexes, we are going to go with Rachaad White if Bucky doesn't play and Cortland Sutton. Or actually, I'd go with White and Dowdle if Hubbard and Bucky miss. And then if either one of them play, Sutton is the backup option. Okay. Now, Beto with our next one here. Running back, we have Gibbs as the auto start. James Cook as an auto start. Wide receiver, Rome, Worthy. Tight end, Tyler Warren. Flex, Quentin Johnston. Lamb and Pearsall are both probably going to miss, so you go Michael Carter. Now, Blocko Boy, quarterback, Fields over Bo Nix. Running back, we go Achan Judkins. Wide receiver, we go Wilson and Quentin Johnston. And then in the flex, I'll take Derrick Henry, but obviously not super excited about Derrick Henry given the context of this team not having Lamar Jackson. Okay. Phoenix Lance says 0.2 point per carry and half PPR. So we want to get the running backs in the flex spots, essentially. We start Cam Scat at running back. Then, yeah, for the flexes, again, you play the running backs with volume. You go Kenneth Walker and Jalen Warren over Brian Thomas in a half PPR and 0.2 point per carry league. But it looks like we had 500 likes in the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions. Again, to qualify to win free questions, stupid simple. All you got to do is drop a like on the stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. You can tell that the vast majority of all the questions that I answer on the site are free questions by people either winning them in the live chat or honestly, the majority of them are people taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy. You can get guaranteed free questions for the streams that we're doing every single night by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy, which is after you play your first $5 with code FLOCK, you are going to get $100 added to your account. And on top of that, you are going to get a free, oh, that's the old one. You're going to get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for tomorrow night's game. And on top of that, you're going to be getting free questions for these live streams that you can ask. And again, I'm going to be streaming every single day until Christmas. So you should have plenty of opportunities for you to be able to get your questions in. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. And you can find that link in the description as well as the live chat. But let me go ahead and send out this free question to lion trees, something along those lines. Let me see if I can find you on the site, my friend. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. Lion trees. Just found you and just sent you over a free start sit question. Again, really appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. Now, Real W Cheese trading Ladd and Sutton for CeeDee Lamb. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. We'd have Lamb, Marv, Hunter, Jennings, Matthew Golden. The value side of this is the CeeDee Lamb side, no brainer. The issue is you don't have a lot of depth right now to take an L this. You're probably going to take an L this week if you do this. So, if you have a winning record, let's go for it. Losing record, it would probably be a little bit tougher. But yeah, if you're like 4-1, 5-0, you get CeeDee Lamb here and you don't think about it. Okay. Now, Marine with our next one. Quarterback Drake May versus Daniel Jones. I think you go Daniel Jones. I mean, the Colts project to be one of the highest scoring offenses in the league this week. I think you'd rather have Kyler because you want the total to be high in the game. But yeah, with the Kyler stuff, right, I think you can go with Drake May. Drake May is giving you some rushing upside too, and Diggs is going to help the offense. Tet Debo will be auto starts at wide receiver with the matchup against the Cowboys, as well as the fact that Debo has no Terry. And then for the flex, I'm just going to keep it simple. You play Sutton. No need to risk it with like a questionable backup running back there where we don't know exactly what the workload is going to look like. Now, Murph with our next one. We have Jacoby Myers, the best option on the bench with no Bowers, but realistically, and to be honest with you, man, I'd start Kyle Pitts over Darren Waller if Darnell Mooney doesn't play. But yeah, I think you leave the rest of the lineup as is, though. If you wanted to pivot to somebody, it'd be Jacoby Myers, but I have ranked Jacoby Myers too high every single week going back God knows how long. Okay. Now, McQuinn, 3-2, lost Bucky and Hampton. Do I wait them and Lamb out or make a move for a running back now? Optimistically, with the upcoming schedule, I should be 5-5 without them. My guy, you are crazy to think you can project out what you're going to be a month from now with your record. You lost Bucky and Hampton. You trade Rome for Breece Hall. We're going to keep it simple. Space 30 Cowboy. Barkley and Wilson versus St. Brown and Chase Brown. I would go with the Barkley and Garrett Wilson side. Like Joe Flacco is going to help this Bengals offense, but he's not going to bring in a new offensive line. Now, gadgets with our next question. Trading Gibbs for Chase Brown, Rashee Rice, and Trey McBride. It's a league where depth does matter. Right now at tight end, we have 2 bums. Wide receiver, we have Ladd, Adams, Myers, Addison. So here's the thing. In the vast majority of leagues, with the vast majority of people watching this, I would suggest you go with the best player, with Jahmyr Gibbs. However, with your team as well as the depth requirements of your league, where it's a 12-team start 8, I am completely fine with you deciding that it's better for you to take the package here. But obviously, it's very dependent on your exact team and your exact league settings. Now, I see Novas trading Derrick Henry for Michael Carter and Chris Olave. I can almost guarantee you we don't want to do this. Yeah, you have enough wide receiver production where you don't need to do this. Keep Derrick Henry. I know it's horrendous right now, but you're going to get Lamar back after the Week 7 bye. It's a really good bye week for the Baltimore Ravens, timing-wise. Heaven trading Smith and Kraft for Harvey and Marv. We realistically need to move Kraft up our ranks. You don't necessarily need him, though, considering your team here. So here's the thing. You're losing this trade value-wise for sure. Like, for sure, you'd rather have the Devonta Smith and Tucker Kraft side value-wise. But because you specifically don't need Tucker Kraft, like, I understand you making it if this is the best deal that you can get, but I would try to squeeze out a little bit more value before you just make this one. Tyrone trading Kyler Judkins Ladd for James Cook, Lamar Jackson. AO Manor is almost a 0. I think you would do this in a heartbeat. Kyler is a 0-2 post-injury. So give me James Cook over Judkins. Give me Ladd over Kyler. Again, really, you're only going to get 1 week missed from Kyler. He's going to miss this next week, but then, yeah, the week 7 bye, which every player has to go through a bye week anyway. So, yeah, I think you go with the Lamar and James Cook side. Okay. Now, Willits trading Pickens for Kamara. I have Pickens higher. I'm looking at this. Like, I can't see your exact team. I think I would opt to go with George Pickens unless you are just 100% confident that Kamara is getting dealt to a contender. But there is an outside chance that he's actually injured. And if I were to then tell you to sell George Pickens for him, I would not feel very smart. I'll tell you that much. Okay. Now, Cole Palmer with our next one. We need 2 flexes. So we're going to plan on Devonta Smith and then Chris. Actually, no, you're going to go Ja'Cory Cross-Camara now. Godwin didn't practice today. JCM in a favorable matchup. Actually, I can't even tell you to flip from Devonta Smith to Miller if Kamara is going to miss Sunday, because Smith plays tomorrow, so you're not going to have the Kamara clarity by then. Okay. Now, Steel Champ trading Montgomery, Swift, Ladd for Rice and Hampton. Swift, Hampton upgrade. Ladd and Montgomery versus Rasheed Rice. Give me Rice. So I'm going to take the Rice and Hampton side when it comes to long-term value. But with that being said, if you are a team that's 4-1, if you're a team that's 5-0, this is perfect. But if you're 1-4, then this would be horrible. Okay. Now, our next question's from Himothy. Quarterback, we have Caleb, Jaden Daniels. I'm going to go Daniels. The Commanders are favored by like 5 points in this game. And then for the flex, we have Judkins, Dowdle, Tet. Now, this is actually tough. As realistically, Tet has the dream matchup going up against the Dallas Cowboys. Dowdle's coming off a game where he legit had over 200 rushing yards. And then Judkins looks like he may be one of the best rushers of the football in the league at this point. Looking at how I rank these running backs for this week, I put Dowdle at 13. I put Judkins at 14 because, again, Dowdle also has that great matchup against Dallas. So assuming you have no Chuba Hubbard, I think you go with Rico Dowdle here. And it's the revenge game as well. That Morris kid trading Kamara and Pittman for Brian Thomas and JCM. Can y'all help me out in the chat? What do y'all think with this? Because, again, this is so dependent on what ends up happening. with Alvin Kamara. Like, is this a legit injury or instead is he getting dealt? Would y'all rather have the Kamara and Pittman or JCM and Brian Thomas side? I'm assuming people are going to go Kamara, but let's see what people in the chat say. We got right, right, left, right, right, left, right, 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 left, left. I don't know. Left, I would keep. So left, right, left, right, left, left. Fact of the matter is, this is a shot you got to make on your own. You got to say, I know ball, I know best. It's very, very difficult for me to come out here and try to make a prediction on this. Like, if I were to do it, I would just be lying to you, to be honest. So it's up to you. I think it's a personal preference type deal. And I need to log out and log back in so I can keep answering these questions. So just give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. And I will remind y'all as I do this that if you want one of these hats or a hat with a different design, for the love of God, all you got to do, I already spent more money on these than I've ever spent on anything in my entire life, and I'm giving them to y'all for free. We've had a better year on the website than we've ever had, better year on YouTube than we've ever had. Trying to do anything I can to get back to y'all. What I figured is, let me order 2,500 hats and let's give away as many as we can. So go to the post section on the site. If you're a paid member, this should be open to you. Fill out this Google form. Essentially, just let me know what hat you want. Let me know where to send it. I already bought the hats. Now I'm paying for all the shipping. It's free for you. We're just doing it as a way to give back. So please go ahead and fill that out. And I promise you, I'm not harvesting your physical addresses so I can show up. You'll never receive a piece of mail from me. The only thing you're ever going to get is a hat. There's not harvesting your emails. We already have your emails. If you are a paid member of the site, you signed up and you put in an email. I don't need it on a Google form. It's on Stripe. The only reason we have the email there is I have to confirm, are you actually a paid member of the site? So I get nothing out of you filling that out other than I get to spend an extra $10 shipping another hat, paying for postage, and I have one less hat in my living room. So please fill that out so I can get y'all some free ones. Okay. Now, that Morris kid trading out Kamara, Michael Pittman. We already answered this one. Personal preference, up to you. Now, our next one from Chatty. Trading Javonte for Tet and Jalen Warren. Javonte's the best player in the deal. It's a 10-team format. So typically in a 10-team league, I'd say you want to keep the best player in said deal, and you have enough wide receiver production. So yeah, I just hold on to Javonte here. Okay. Now, Maldi, this is Jordan Mason, Jamison Williams versus Chase Brown and Keenan Allen. Okay, Jordan Mason to Chase Brown upgrade, JMO to Keenan Allen upgrade. So yes, you're upgrading in 2 spots. I would do this. Now, Brandon says, got sent this trade. It's a full PPR double flex league. He also offered to take Hunter instead of Olave. I am 2-3 with Dart and Purdy at quarterback. He offered to take Hunter instead of, I would for sure trade Travis Hunter instead of Chris Olave. I'll say 2 different things. One, if you can sell Derrick Henry and Chris Olave for Jaden Daniels and Breece Hall, I would do that. Yes, please. Give me Jaden Daniels over Derrick Henry. Give me Breece Hall over Derrick Henry. Give me Jaden Daniels over Chris Olave, and you're getting RJ Harvey for free. Now, it would be better if you could sell Travis Hunter instead of Olave, but yeah, you make that deal and it's a no-brainer. Let me send you over a free trade question just in case there's another thing that you want to follow up with here. But realistically, I think you have to take Breece Hall over Derrick Henry with the Braylon Allen injury and with the rumors that you have with Breece getting traded. But it looks like we just hit 600 likes on the stream, so let me go ahead and send out some free questions. So again, all you got to do to win free questions, stupid simple. Drop a like on the live stream. And then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. So if you win, I know who to send it to. And obviously, you can always get free questions by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy. Or if you go over to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for the Thursday night game. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. You can find that link in the description. You can find that link in the live chat as well. But let me go ahead and send out a free question. Let me see if I can find Alex Bucks here. Okay. What am I looking for? Flock users. Alex Bucks. Just found you and just sent you over a free start sit question. Really appreciate you hanging out with us, my guy. Now, here we're trading Kenneth Walker for Kamara. I would rather have Kamara over Kenneth Walker at this point and hope that Kamara gets dealt. Like, Kenneth Walker is not playable at this point in terms of the actual volume that he is getting in Seattle. Maybe I'm crazy here. The expert average ranking, I believe, has Walker ahead of Kamara. So I very much could be on an island and could be an idiot in this case, but I'd rather have Kamara. Okay. Now, Vasilando trading, between Fields and May, I'm going to go Fields. I believe the Pats are supposed to score like another 5 points over New York this week, but Fields just gives you the rushing upside. Drake May's not running the ball as much. Going over to running back, I would go ahead. I'd play Quinshon Judkins here. And then for the flex spots, you go with Xavier Worthy and Garrett Wilson. I don't think you play Ja'Cory Crossing-Merritt over any of these players. Okay. Now, Portly Stir Fry, running back, Rachaad White with no Bucky, and then we're going to go with Cam Scat as well. And then for the flex, these wide receivers aren't startable. So here in this instance, I know a lot of people are going to tell you Ja'Cory Crossing-Merritt. And honestly, I think we may have to follow in their footsteps. Like, I think I have... Let me see if the underdog projections are out with these players yet. Ja'Cory Crossing-Merritt. No. Do they have at least projections for Michael Carter? No. Where did I have them ranked earlier in the week? They were both E-tier running backs. I had Michael Carter 2 spots higher. But realistically, with the spreads on these games now moving the direction that they are, especially with Kyler Murray potentially missing, I think you go ahead. I think you take Ja'Cory Crossing-Merritt. I think we'll have to update that ranking, and I'll do that right now on the site. Okay. Now, our next one's going to be from K. Soliner. Always happy to see my guys selling Tet for Rice. I'd rather have Rice at this point. Okay, and you're only getting one extra game from Tet than you are Rice. So, I think you run with it. Now, Lysergic Sid. Between Daniel Jones and Caleb Williams, the Colts are supposed to score way more points, and it's not like you have way more rushing upside with Caleb than you do DJ. So, I'd probably go Daniel Jones. And then for the 2 flexes, you have Travis Etienne in one. And the other spot, I think you go Trevion. No, you go Kendrick Bourne. It looks like you're going to have no Ricky Pearsall, no George Kittle, and potentially no Jawan Jennings again. So obviously we saw the volume that Kendrick Bourne had last week. I want to say he had 14 targets, 10 receptions, and like 140 receiving yards. Let's see if that's remotely accurate. He had 11 targets, 10 receptions, 140 receiving yards. So it was somewhat accurate. Not the worst thing in the world to say. Okay. Okay. Let's move this over to our next one. This is JB Terrell selling Lamar, Olave, Darren Waller for 2 future first, Stroud. I'd rather have Stroud in the 2 future first over Lamar, and I'd rather have Rice over Olave and Waller. Waller's a 0 in Dynasty. You can say the same thing about Jonathan Brooks, but still. I probably go with the 2 future first, Rashee Rice, CJ Stroud over Lamara and Olave. But again, I'm not super excited about Olave either in Dynasty. Okay. Now, Ocelot with our next one. This is open to a different combo. Getting Puka, though. Oh, if you can get Puka, yeah, I mean, this would be a no-brainer. If we were to go through and change something, maybe instead of selling Ladd, you sell Brian. Like, I would sell Brian Thomas and James Cook. I'd sell Ladd and James Cook. Frankly, it doesn't matter. If you're getting Puka, you're winning the deal. And also, you don't need Justin Fields here. If you get Justin Fields, cool, but you could do it straight up for Puka. Okay. Now, K-Man Lawyer trading Marv for T. Higgins. I have T. Higgins, and I'd sell him for Marv in a heartbeat. It's easily Marv here. Now, Bucks to the Bowl. Tight ends. Give me Dallas Goedert over Fannin and Theo Johnson. The Goddard's tight end 5 in fantasy points per game at the moment. Obviously, the touchdown efficiency is going to regress, though. Now, down in the flex, you have no Jefferson this week. So, realistically, you may go Miller if this Kamara injury is serious. And then if not, your backup plan can be like Josh Downs. Now, shabby guide. Quarterback, give me Fields over Goff. Wide receiver, give me Marv over Smith. And then in the flex, I probably play Michael Carter. We probably bench Smith. As realistically speaking, like if you're looking at what you have with the Eagles, they're favored by over a touchdown in this game. They're probably not going to have to throw the ball. Now, B.W. Herman, here I'm going to play Scat at running back. And then if you wanted to make a pivot, you would play one of the running backs in either Chase Brown or Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt over Keenan Allen in that flex spot. And then obviously you'll have to play a different tight end than Bowers. I'm assuming Bowers isn't going to play this week. Okay. Now, E-Will, buy Shell 2, DeAndre Swift, and Ibuka versus Bijan. So league where depth does matter somewhat. Leftover receiver, you have Puka, Tet, JSN. Here's the thing. You make this move, you have Bijan Robinson, Achane, and Puka Nacua on the same roster. So, yeah, I think you go ahead. I think you just take Bijan Robinson in this. Especially knowing that Bijan's through the bye already, so you're getting an extra game as well. Give me Bijan Robinson. Now, Mr. Sharp coming through. This is James Cook versus 2 future first and buy Shell Tootin in a Dynasty Superflex League. I would say that the 2 future first and buy Shell Tootin are going to be worth more for sure in the offseason. Obviously, if you're a contending team, though, and that loses you the league, you don't want to make that move. Now, Negatron says, non-PPR, would you make this trade? And if not, for who? I mean, I have them ranked right here in the same range in a full PPR format. So in a non-PPR league, yes, I would trade Mike Evans for Chase Brown in a heartbeat. Like, non-PPR format, just in general, running backs are going to be optimal there in the flex spot as opposed to wide receivers. Now, Christos trading Walker for Chase Brown. I still have it's a personal preference thing. It's RB24 versus RB25 in my ranks. So truly it is just going to be up to you. But like the Cincinnati Bengals still project to be a horrendous offense. Okay. Now Squid says need 2 for the flex or just 1 if Hubbard is out. Okay. We're going to go with Dowdle, of course, if Hubbard is out. And then from there, your other spot would be Chase Brown. Here's the thing, though. You're in a tough spot because Devonta Smith would be the next option if Hubbard plays, but obviously he plays tomorrow night. So I would plan on this, and if Hubbard plays, then you pivot over to Matthew Golden as your backup play. Now, El Booyah, down here on the bench, our best option in the starting lineup would be Michael Carter. But no, I think we leave this as is. But obviously, if Bucky were to play, then we're taking out Rashad White. Clark Cav says, should I try to get him, and what is a fair deal? I mean, it depends on if you like it, my friend. You could try selling Bucky Irving for Ashton Genty, either RB12, RB11. If you wanted to go like Javonte for Genty, if you wanted to send a wide receiver instead, that wide receiver would be like Garrett Wilson for Ashton Genty. I don't really see like any players that are in like the range where we can go a 2-for-1 type trade with your team. I think you just have a couple names that are in a similar range. So if you wanted to go get Genty, I mean, I would do it before the Tennessee game because obviously it's going to be one of the better spots for him this year. Now, Silky Flocky trading Waddle for Hendo. I have Waddle ranked ahead of him. Wide receiver, we have London, Wilson, JSN, Devonta Smith. So you have plenty of wide receiver production. We're fine at running back too. So I understand if you wanted to make this deal. I'm not going to say that you win on the Trevion Henderson side. I'd say that you're a loser for sure in the short term. The question is obviously in the long term, does this eventually flip the other way? Now, Jacobson Cooks trading ETN to Devonta Smith for CeeDee Lamb. Give me CeeDee Lamb here easily. Unless you're like 1-4 or 0-5. Wilson, 12-team PPR, 4-1. A lot of people said accept, but I'm conflicted. Montgomery to Trevion Henderson. I view that as a lateral move. Barkley and Mike Evans for Scat and Rome. You're downgrading from Barkley to Rome, upgrading from Evans to Scat. 4-1. I want to think a little more long-term. Mike Evans and Trevion Henderson are both long-term pieces. I think it's a fair deal, and it's up to you. For me, I'm not fully out on Trevion Henderson yet. But I think this is a fair trade. I'm not going to tell you that it's a no-brainer except, though. Especially 4-1, you can get through the Evans injury. Okay. Now, Mountain Drew trading Swift, Rome, Addison for Bucky, JCM, and Metcalf. Rome to Bucky, lateral move. Swift to JCM, lateral move. Addison to Metcalf. I think it's a fair trade. I think it's up to you. If I was a winning team that needed points in the long term, I'd probably opt to go with the Bucky. If I was a losing team, I'd probably opt to go with the Rome, get an extra game. But in general, I think that this is going to be one that's just up to you. Now, Sack Jack trading Genty and Metcalf for Achane and Olave. This is Achane and Olave easily. Like Olave and Metcalf, same player. Give me Achane very easily over Genty given the receiving usage. Now, Camp Perrell trading Nico to Breece, lateral move. Tyler Warren to Jamar Chase, massive upgrade. Pollard to Kincaid, lateral move. I'm going to go with the Breece and Jamar Chase side. But again, I'm very much in on Breece Hall with the Braylon injury. Now, Squiddy here at running back. You have no Mason. You have no Hampton. It's either Montgomery or Carter. I'm going to go Carter in the matchup against, with Montgomery having a tough matchup against the Chiefs, you're going to play Montgomery anyway, looking at your team. You go Matthew Golden at wide receiver, and then here for the flexes, we're going to take the combo of David Montgomery and Khalil Shakir. Isaac Tesla is not worth the roster spot. I know it's Tesla, something weird. It's not Tesla, but regardless, I would go through and I'd cut Isaac Tesla. It's tough to imagine him getting there given the context of that offense having St. Brown, J-Mo, Laporta, Gibbs, Montgomery. Like, how are you ever going to be confident to put him in your lineup? MB says, I got this offer. What do you think? I'm leaning no. How bad do you need a quarterback? We have Caleb, so you just be playing the match between Daniel Jones and Caleb. I have T. Higgins ranked 3 spots ahead of DJ Moore. So, they're about the same for me. So, if you view Daniel Jones as an upgrade over Caleb Williams, then yeah, go for it. If you view them as kind of like the same player or a possible downgrade, it's just a personal preference type deal. Again, like, I had, in general, T. Higgins as a sell. But it's not like you're getting a great price point. DJ Moore he's played 4 games. 3 of them he's had 5 targets. 1 of them he's had 6. Now, Manifest trading Walker and Dowdle for Kamara. I'd probably rather have the Walker and Dowdle side here, unless you're sure that Kamara's getting dealt. Now, Sego Band's trading Miller for J-Mo. 14-team format. So here's the thing. Jameson Williams is going to have better week. And y'all know I'm the Jameson hater, right? So, like, I don't love saying this, but Jameson Williams is going to be a hell of a lot better going into the future than he has been. And in a 14-team start 8 format, he will for sure be in a spot where you could realistically start him in this league. Now, I'm trying to think if this is just going to be a very black and white deal. If Kamara gets traded, it's the Miller side and it's not close. If Kamara is just healthy and he just continues to split this backfield, it's the J-Mo side in your format. So it comes down to, do you think Kamara is getting dealt, or do you think Kamara is going to miss significant time with an injury? I'd say like a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. You could go Miller for sure because J-Mo's not going to impact that format. Bucks to the Bowl trading Egbuka and Walker for St. Brown. Leftover at running back, you'd have Genty and then like Miller as your RB2. So realistically speaking, you don't have enough running back depth to do this. You have to hold Egbuka. But it looks like we just hit 700 likes. So let's go ahead and let's send out free question in the chat again. To qualify to win free questions, all you got to do is drop a like on the live stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. That way, if you win a free question, I know who I can send it over to, or who I should send it over to. And also with that, of course, you can always get free questions by taking advantage of the offer that we have with our partner, Underdog Fantasy. Underdog has been the only... And let me see. What do they have for Cam Skattebo? God dang it. Scat's projections are much lower now that you have Tracy back. He's higher lower is 66.5 points, 10.85. I hate to see that for my own team. He's still projected to be the lead running back here, but they are projecting this to be a committee with Tracy. That freaking sucks. God, that sucks so bad for me. But anyway, if you want to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find the link in the description. You can find it in the live chat. Using promo code FLOCK, you'll get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for tomorrow night's game. Underdog's been the only sponsor of this channel for 5 years. And I will say we've had like more people sign up to Underdog with code FLOCK over the past 2 weeks than we've had in forever. I think the reason being is that $100 offer is insane. They've never done anything like it. But let me see if I can find a dog in me and send them over a free question. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream, my friend. Let me see if I can find you. Dog. I cannot. I don't know if you use code FLOCK when you signed up to the site. If not, you can add it to your account page. That way, next time if you win, I can find you. Stojo10 just found you and just sent you over that free start set question. Again, really appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream, my friend. But Ashifano says 4-1, got Bucky Gibbs, Devontae Rice, Rome, Debo Ridley. Pickens to Breece upgrade, Miller to Hendo upgrade. We're paying Woody Marks, get it done. Yeah, I would do this. Now, NK Resin trading Walker for Henry upgrade, Wilson to Bucky upgrade. I would do this. Again, tough in the short term with a Bucky injury and also with Derrick Henry dealing with Lamar out of this offense, making the Ravens horrendous. So it's not a super easy call right now. Now, Pee-wee enemy, something along those lines. Quarterback, give me Fields over Daniel Jones. Running back, we're going to go with Rico Dowdle, assuming Hubbard misses. I would assume you have a better tight end streamer than A.J. Barner. And then we're going to go with Jacoby Myers and then probably Michael Carter. I know I've been an idiot telling y'all to start Jacoby Myers over the past few weeks. I've ranked him way too high in our rankings, but with the Bowers injury, I think you can project him to have some volume here. Now, 305 fan. We need a running back. We have ETN versus JCM. I'm going to go ETN easily. Very similar to how we were viewing Woody Marks last week. I think JCM is a very exciting running back rest of season. He has a lot of upside, but you can afford to see him this next week against Chicago before you call him must start name. Like ETN, you know, has the role. Okay. Bonched trading Daniels, Puka, Hawk for Fields, James Cook, the big Q, Hunter Henry, and Shaheed. Yeah, Chief, this is going to be Puka Nacua, and it's not even remotely close. Like, Puka and Jaden Daniels are the two best players in this deal. Actually, no, they're not the two best players. It's obviously Puka and James Cook. But Puka's in a different tier than James Cook. Puka Nacua, again, is in the tier with McCaffrey as the only untouchable players in fantasy football. So, this is Puka Nacua. Now, Lions in 4, running back, give me Michael Carter over Hendo and Miller. And then in the flex, we'll go Kendrick Bourne, assuming that you have no Pearsall and you have no Jennings. If they play, then you can pivot to Henderson. Now, Chase B says, take the risk on Lamb or start A.J. Brown. I'd start A.J. Brown. Lamb's not going to play. Yes, start A.J. Brown. And then, or if you thought Lamb's going to play, say you get a good practice report tomorrow, then you could plan on Lamb and pivot to Jacoby Myers. Not the worst pivot in the world. And then running back, we're just going to go with whoever starts in Carolina. It's probably going to be Rico Dowdle. Okay. Now, Stella Mango. Jordan Love, Saquon Barkley, Mike Evans versus Jaden Daniels and Achane. Barkley to Achane upgrade. Evans and Love versus Daniels. Give me Daniels. So I would do this, especially in a full PPR format. As coming from somebody who has Saquon Barkley on their own team. Now, decent platter here for the flex. I'll take Chase Brown over T. Higgins. T. Higgins has had like one game with more than 33 receiving yards this season. Like, the dude has been horrendous. And I mean horrendous. Okay. Now, JM. It's Jonathan Taylor, JCM, Michael Pittman versus Daniel St. Brown and A.J. Brown. Give me Taylor over St. Brown. Give me A.J. Brown over Pittman. Give me Daniels over JCM. What would be left over at running back? We'd have CMC, the Carolina RBs, and Michael Carter. Right now we have Caleb Williams at QB. So, like, I am okay with us making this move. It's not the most exciting one in the world, considering how good Jonathan Taylor's looked, but I think you are okay with it. Now, here from Snowy's, give me Baker over Caleb. Wide receiver, we're going to go with Rome and Debo. And then in the flex, God, this sucks. Because realistically, you actually do have an extremely strong matchup for both Tet going up against Dallas and Ginty going up against Tennessee. I'll probably take the running back with the volume. I'll probably take Ginty. But it's strong on both options. Okay. Now that Morris kid, Pittman versus A.J. Brown, I'm going to go A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown's actually had more target volume over the past month. Pittman obviously is running extremely hot on touchdowns. Pittman's been much better so far this season. But I think I've seen a large enough sample from both these wide receivers. And they're the same age as well. You had A.J. Brown drafted in 2019, but he only stayed 3 years at Ole Miss. You had Pittman drafted in 2020, but he stayed 4 years at USC. And I've had a large enough sample from these guys to just operate under the assumption that A.J. Brown's going to be the more efficient wide receiver going forward. Petro Mega, this is Kamara versus Bucky, Igbuka versus Nico, Juwan versus Kittle. I'm going to go with the Nico, Kittle, and Bucky side. But with that in mind, I am one of the very few people left on this planet that would rather have... Like, here's the thing. Selling Igbuka for Breece, I just think you can get more value for Igbuka. With all the Igbuka trades that I've seen in these live streams, I think if you're selling Igbuka, you need to be asking for more. Okay. Now, Skype with our next one. This is Fields versus Kyler. Give me Fields, even if Kyler was healthy. Running back, I'm assuming Bucky misses. I'm assuming Kamara plays. Wide receiver, you go Golden. And then I probably go Shaheed here in the flex. Obviously operating under the assumption that you get no Bucky Irving. If Bucky plays, you play Bucky there easily. Slime season, trading Carter and Devonta Smith for Tet. I'd probably go Tet unless you don't need the help at running back. We have Jacobs, Kyron at running back. Jacobs already through the bye. We have quality depth pieces. Yeah, I think you can make this pivot and go ahead and get McMillan. Now, H. Limp trading Henry for Sharp and Lad McConkey. Wide receiver, we have Waddle, Evans, Judy. So here's the thing, man. The Derrick Henry side's the winner of this. Derrick Henry is going to have more value in the long term once you eventually get Lamar Jackson healthy again. Now, with that being said, your team is garbage at wide receiver. So I completely understand the fact that we need to sell a running back for a receiver. And if this is the best you're going to get, this is the best you're going to get. But I would try to sell Derrick Henry for more if possible. Okay, let's refresh this. This is Joester trading Kyron and Ferg for JSN. I think you can get more value out of Kyron and Ferg. I'm going to go Kyron and Ferg. Zappo trading Caleb and Lamar. Down tiering to yeah, this is the Lamar side easily, to be honest. Unless you were like have the worst running back room known to man, which you don't. You have an okay running back room for a 14-team league. So give me Lamar and Caleb. Now, Dr. Dre, running back between Dowdle and Rashad White. Both are incredibly compelling plays. Dowdle has himself an incredible matchup here going up against Dallas in the revenge game. We know we play Pickens in that same game at wide receiver. Realistically, I think you go Dowdle at running back, and I think you play Rashad White in the flex. Assuming that you have no Bucky as well as no Chuba, both those options are just auto starts. Now, Flockadoodle Deuce is mainly looking for a start sit, tough to decide. I'm assuming Lamar is going to miss, so you'll play Stafford. Running back, you go Dowdle and Scat. Wide receiver, JSN and tough if Kyler's going to miss. Terms of Marv, DK, and Olave. Our rankings this week, we do have DK Metcalf and Olave as the higher two options than Marv given the injury. It's a full PPR format, so I probably play both wide receivers there, throwing one in the flex spot. Okay. Now, B Wizzle says 4-1, 10-team league, 16 playoffs. Fields is projected well for the... Okay, here's what we're not doing. We're not trading Justin Fields for weeks 15 through 17 when he may not be a starting quarterback by then. I have them ranked back-to-back at QB8, QB9. I think Justin Fields gives you the higher ceiling given the rushing, but I can guarantee you that there is no possibility whatsoever that Drake May ever gets benched. Now, I'm trying to think what we could like possibly. This is just a personal preference. Fields does give you a crazy high ceiling, but don't be making the trade for weeks 15 through 17, to be honest. Now, D Dogga Bullfrog. Quarterback, this is the craziest league I've ever seen. This is legit the craziest league I've ever seen. It's a 6-team start 12 3-quarterback league. Absolutely wild. And this comment's hilarious. Who the F would Fields get benched for? Frankly, it doesn't matter. They're not going to leave Fields in there if they're 0-15. But at that point, I think they'll throw in anybody. They'll throw in Tyrod Taylor. How the hell do y'all not think Ben Fields could get benched? The Jets are 0-5, and Justin Fields has gotten benched every year of his career dating back the past 3 seasons. But anyway, let's go ahead and let's check this out. We know we start Dowdle with no Hubbard. We know we start Judkins. We have no Jefferson. We have no Neighbors. It's a full BBR format, so we probably go with Olave and then Scat here. But honestly, man, I may tell you to go Marv over Scat. now that you have Tracy back in with it sucks. I'm playing scat myself this week, but the projections now have it more as a committee where it's not like Scattaboo's guaranteed to get 20 plus opportunities anymore. Now, W Deck trading Bucky and Godwin for JCM, Dobbins, and Myers. Okay. Bucky's by far and away the best player in this deal. This is an 8-team league. You keep Bucky Irving. The only way I'd ever consider making a deal like that is if you're 0-5. Okay. Now, Los Galos here at tight ends. Darren Waller versus David Njoku. Both of them obviously are steaming. Waller's had 3 touchdowns over the past 2 weeks, but realistically, the volume hasn't been there. But it's hard for me not to tell you to play the guy that's averaging 18 points per game at the moment. And then for the flex, it's going to be between Ramadre and Pollard effectively. I have Ramadre at RB28 this week, and I have Pollard at RB30. I mean, Ramadre gets the bump with Antonio Gibson being out for the season. Now, Bryce says, if Kyler's out, who should we drop? Reed's on the IR. I would probably drop Spears. Actually, no, you drop Pacheco. It's either Pacheco or Spears. In the flex spot this week, you're probably playing Stevenson if Pearsall doesn't play. Or you could drop Kyler depending on what your league's like when it comes to quarterbacks on the waiver wire. Like, would your league mates pick up Kyler if you dropped him? Now, Love Mando here at running back. CMC and ETN are the auto starts. Wide receiver, we have Pickens and Brian Thomas. Tight end, give me McBride. And then in the flex, we'll go with Devonta Smith with no Lamar, bringing down Flowers. Dreams, quarterback, give me Fields over Dak, given the rushing upside, assuming it's a 4-point passing touchdown league. We're going to go Judkins and ETN at RB. Wide receiver, give me the combo of Igbuka and Worthy. And then for the flex, assuming Bucky misses, our best flex is Swift at running back versus Ladd at wide receiver, full PPR format, so it's close. But Swift is getting you a guaranteed 15 opportunities a game. Max Ammo trading Rice for Igbuka. I have them ranked back-to-back in my rankings. Igbuka is going to crush Rice over the next month or so. But obviously you could say that once Godwin's fully healthy, once Evans is fully healthy, Rice could flip him. But it's back-to-back. It's up to you. If you're 5-0, I'd rather have Rice. Luke trades sending Chase and Devonta Smith for A.J. Brown and Javonte. Smith versus A.J. Brown, not that far apart. Chase versus Javonte, give me Chase. Running back, we lost Hampton and Bucky. So since you lost both Hampton and Bucky, I'm okay with you making this move. But in general, I think you probably are losing it. But it looks like we just hit 800 likes on the stream. So thank you, Phil. If y'all have not done so already, please, if y'all want to qualify to win free questions, go ahead, drop a like on this live stream, and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat. That way, if you win, I know who to send it to on the site. But also, if you want to get guaranteed free questions, you can take advantage of the offer that we have on Underdog Fantasy, or if you go to the link in the description, the link in the live chat, and sign up to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK. After you play your first $5, you're going to get $100 added into your account. Also, you're going to get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for tomorrow night's game. And you'll get free questions that you can ask in these live streams. And I am streaming answering questions every single day until Christmas. You can find that link in the live chat and the description. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. But let's see if we can find Jackson Wave here on the site so we can go ahead and send him over a free question. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream, my friend. We got Jackson Wave. Just found you and just sent you over a free start sit question. Again, appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. No. Astro Bay trading Jacobs and Adams for Igbuka, A.J. Brown, and Chase Brown. Jacobs to Igbuka downgrade, Adams to A.J. Brown downgrade. We're getting Chase Brown to do it. I would keep the Josh Jacobs side here, but I know most people in the chat would say they want Igbuka. So I think it's kind of a personal preference, up to you. My personal preference would be Josh Jacobs, but again, could be completely wrong, and that is my personal preference. Now, let's move over to our next question. This is from Mason Pieces. Got offered this trade, max 4 running back league. I can tell you right now, I don't care what the league settings, unless the league settings are you get minus 20 points in your lineup every time you started a San Francisco 49ers running back. I would rather have Christian McCaffrey here. Again, CMC and Puka Nacua are in a tier of players that they are untouchable. So if you ever have CMC, you hold on to them as tight as you possibly can. Now, Squishy trading Harvey, Diggs, Jamar, Debo for CMC, JMO, and Shakir. Again, just going to repeat exactly what I said with the last one. Christian McCaffrey's worst game so far this season. He has scored 23 fantasy points in his worst game. And he has not had a single rushing touchdown yet this season. The floor that you get with CMC is ridiculous. So we're going to go ahead. We will take the McCaffrey side of this. Now, King Braid with our next one. Trading CMC, JMO, Kyle Pitts for Genty, Tet, and Tyler Warren. I'm going to take the McCaffrey side. It's a very appealing deal. I have Genty as the low-end RB1. I have Tyler Warren as the tight end 2 rest of season. I have Tedero McMillan as a low-end wide receiver 1, high-end wide receiver 2. But come on. Again, McCaffrey's McCaffrey. Nobody comes close. You take McCaffrey. Now, Mavium says, has A.J. Brown cried enough to make him startable here? We have Breece, Barkley in the lineup. Actually, no, you go Kyron over Breece. God, you have a good team. And then we have Breece down in the flex. So essentially, yeah, I would probably start A.J. Brown over Metcalf. But, I mean, you have such a good team as well that you could just play for the floor. And obviously, A.J. Brown is not the floor play. Like, A.J. Brown's floor is he gets you 1 fantasy point. But, yeah, your team is freaking loaded, my guy. Now, Jackson Wave. Here at quarterback, get me Hurts over May. Running back, we're going to go Dowdle, assuming Hubbard misses. Wide receiver, we go JSN and Rome. At tight end, we're going to take Mason Taylor. And then in the flex, we'll go with Rashad White, assuming Bucky misses. And if either Hubbard or Bucky play, then Tet McMillan's your backup option. Now, Zuzili, something like that. Zikli, I have no idea. Lost neighbors Tyreek and Reed, 2 and 3. Any help would be sick. I have Judkins over Wilson. Wide receiver right now, you're starting Marv, Devontae Adams. To be honest with you, my guy, you make this deal like we have Judkins in the flex. So realistically, you're going to be lacking a running back or wide receiver depth. It's going to come down to which one you would prefer to be light on. So if you would opt to be light on Running back, then go Wilson. If you want to be light on wide receiver, then go Judkins. But again, I have them ranked in the similar range. And realistically, looking at your team, you're okay at both positions. You're just not super deep at either. Or you're deep at running back now, but if you flip that for wide receiver depth, then you're just going to have a running back depth problem. Okay. Now, Underdog here as our next one. Tight end, give me Kincaid over Theo Johnson. And then in the flex, we'll take Lad McConkey pretty easily now that you have no Amari and Hampton. Now, Drake May Lover trading Judkins, Etienne, Egbuka for Bucky and Achane. Give me Achane over Egbuka. Give me Bucky, Judkins. It's up to you. We're paying Etienne to get it done. It's an 8-team league. 8-team league. Give me the best player in this. And the best player in this is Devon Achane. Okay. Now, Zauzo, here at wide receiver, we're going to go with Rome Odunze and Tet McMillan against the Cowboys. And then in the flexes, it's a full PPR format, so we'll go right back to the wide receivers. We'll probably play the combo of Xavier Worthy and A.J. Brown. Now, Rocco, we have down on the bench Addison as the best name to get in. Actually, no, Addison's on bye. So, yeah, I mean, I guess Woody Marks is the best name to get in. Woody Marks is on bye, too. So, it's Tracy's the best name that you can get in. Hell no, we're not playing Tracy over Josh Downs. So, you leave this as is. Wicked Dependency, trading Rice for Henry and Kittle. Henry and Kittle. So both Rice and Kittle are long-term pieces. Looking at running back, our running back 1 is Chase Brown, and our running back 2 is like RJ Harvey. So realistically speaking, I think you can do this. I hate selling Rashee Rice. But like, you need to sell him for a running back, and this is the best you're going to get. This is the best you're going to get. I mean, you sell somebody for a running back there. You need a running back you can put in your lineup. Okay. Now, Duke Tig, here for the flex. We're going to go Dowdle's plan A if Hubbard misses. If Hubbard plays, then you pivot to JCM. Now, Big A the Don. Assuming Bucky doesn't play, we're going to go RJ Harvey over like Tajay Spears. And actually, you have Hassan Haskins. Never mind. I really don't want to tell anybody to play Hassan Haskins this week, but this may be a spot where you have to do it. I think I'll have to tell you to play Haskins. Because realistically, we don't know if Hassan Haskins is going to be the starter or not. But I know for a fact that RJ Harvey's not a starter this week. Wide receiver, you play Devonta Smith. And then this is not a great team, my friend. And then down in the flex, you probably play Calvin Ridley and close your eyes. Okay. And, oh dear God. Here, we are going to be up super late answering these questions tonight. So let me go fill up my water and go pee real quick. Tell the fiance good night. I can hear her going to bed. I'll be back in 1 second. Okay, I am sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but we are back. JCGX says, oil those door hinges. Yeah, when we open the doors of this house, they freaking creak. I don't know if oiling them will actually help, but if it would, maybe we got to. Now, Boswell to go. Here, you start Justin Fields over Daniel Jones. For the flexes, Debo's and auto starts. And then probably ETN as well. Let me just make sure we're not missing anybody. Yeah, I think it's super simple there. M Hero for this flex spot, it's going to be Dowdle if you have no Hubbard. If Hubbard plays, your backup pivot is Worthy. JT Flea trading Judkins for DJ Moore and AJ Brown. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. We have St. Brown and Metcalf. So realistically, if you are selling a running back, we want to be not getting wide receiver depth. We want to get a significant upgrade, which I don't think this is. So I'd keep Judkins. And you can afford to sell Judkins on your team. I think you just have to charge a higher price. Svet's trading Sharps for Mike Evans. I would do this. Obviously, you're going to end up losing in a big time way if Kenneth Walker gets traded. But if he doesn't, then you're good to go. Now, Negatron says, hey, Mason, what do you think of this trade? Appreciate you. Appreciate you, my friend. Tet, Marks, Dobbins versus Jettas. It's a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. You have plenty of running back production. So I think that this is an absolute no-brainer. I think you take this and you run. Okay. Now, let's move over to next. This is Chris Peacock. Here for this flex spot. I think you go with Ja'Cory Cross-Kamara. You have the Commanders, pretty heavy favorites there. I will say that I'm not super, super confident with it, but it's probably the direction you go in. Now, D. Gad says, hey, Mason, really enjoy your videos. Appreciate the time you put in to help all of us. Really appreciate you, my friend. And here for the flex spot, I don't think you can play Derrick Henry just given the fact that you do have the spread in this game being like 8.5 points, maybe 9 points. So instead, I think you would just play Travis Etienne, keep it safe. Obviously, plan is to go Derrick Henry in the long term, but in the short term, that's a much tougher call. Okay. Now, IBMW. I'm assuming it says it is a 2 quarterback start 10 format. So your 2 quarterbacks you're going to start will be Daniel Jones, and between Goff and Dak, it's not a super easy call. Let me see where I have them in my rankings this week. Goff's going to have to throw the ball. Oh, yeah, but Dak has a great matchup here. Yeah, so I have Dak Prescott ahead of Jared Goff. You go Dak Prescott. So go Dak and Daniel Jones at quarterback. Then we need 10 combined, or then we go Tyler Warren at tight end. We need 7 combined wide receivers and running backs. So we play Chase, Stephon Diggs, and then we need 5 running backs. We go Chase Brown, Rachaad White, Quinshon Judkins, Kyron Williams, and then Miller if Kamara misses. If Kamara plays, you go Hendo, and you send up a prayer that his role is expanded with the Antonio Gibson injury. Okay. Now, Archie Treasure trading Hampton and Godwin for Judkins and George Pickens. For me, I think that this is an easy yes because I think you're upgrading 2 spots. So, yeah, I'd go for it. Trav Snow says, already accepted. Yeah, what the hell? How are you getting Jefferson for Igbuka? Like, again, maybe if Evans was ruled out for the season and Godwin was ruled out for the season, then you can make an argument for Igbuka over Jefferson. But yeah, insane. And I might have to log out, log back in. Just give me 1 second. I actually really like this hat. I like the khaki on khaki hat. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, dokie. Let's swing this back. We have a lot of team reviews we need to get through. This is going to be a late night. Let's pull this back over to the quick trades. Lord Child says, there a reason trade questions are unavailable on the site? Yes, because if I had it turned on where you could purchase questions at all times on the site, then we would be live streaming for 14 hours a day, and I just simply cannot do that. So we have them on voucher only. So if you take advantage of the Underdog offer, or if you win a question in the live stream, you can send one in, or if you're a paid member of the site, you can send one in. But we don't, at the moment, we just can't like have it where you can just go on and buy a trade question, because again, we'd be streaming for 14 hours a day. Travis, no, like I said, Jefferson here, not remotely close. Now, Ben, wide receiver, Pickens, Ladd. Actually, no. Ladd Marv is close. Do you have anybody flex? Yeah, you're going to go White in the flex. Tight ends, give me Kelsey. I actually like what we have with the Lions setup. I think the over-under is like 52.5 points. And then if we're looking at the real question on this is, do you go Marv or Ladd McConkey? I think I'd probably go Ladd if Kyler's going to miss. Now, Coinman trading Diggs and Gainwell for Ferg and McLaurin. Yeah, I think you upgrade 2 spots. Give me Jake Ferg. Now, I went to Jared, quarterback. We're going to take Justin Fields over Bo Nix. And then in the flex spots, we're assuming you have no Lamb, no Terry. You play Michael Carter. And then if Godwin practices tomorrow and Godwin's going to be fine, you play Godwin, and your backup play is Hassan Haskins. But I really don't want to tell anybody to play the Chargers running backs this week, because frankly, we have no idea what's going to happen. Okay. Now, MK7 Scar. Here for the flex, it's Hassan Haskins versus, yeah, you don't consider Haskins here. It's just Waddle easily. Even if Hubbard were to play, I'd still play Waddle, because I don't know what the split's going to be with Dowdle. Okay. Now, James Duncan. Quarterback, give me Daniel Jones over Bo Nix. Wide receiver, give me Garrett Wilson, Tedoroa McMillan. We're going to go with Cortland Sutton in the flex. And then Kyle Pitts over Brock Bowers, because we're going to assume Bowers isn't playing. Now, Aaron, with our next one, our best option on the bench at the moment is nobody. Like obviously Bucky if he plays, but we're going to assume that Bucky doesn't. So I think you just leave this as is. If Bourne doesn't play, I'm sorry, if Pearsall does play, you can flip him in over Bourne, but the expectations are Pearsall doesn't. Okay. Now, Bijan Johnny, running back, give me Rico Dowdle over Rashad White, but we're probably just going to throw White into the flex spot. And then tight end, we're going to go Kraft over Kelsey. And then at wide receiver, we play Xavier Worthy with no Rashee Rice in a game that should be the highest scoring game of the week. Okay. Now, Ego says, considering this trade might lose me this week with no Lamar/Hampton, but I'm 4-1, so is it worth the upside? Would love any ideas. Okay. So here's the thing. If you're 4-1, falling to 4-2 is not the end of the world. And I can almost guarantee that I would rather have Rasheed, like in my week 7 rankings, I'm going to have Rasheed Rice higher than Ted McMillan. And I honestly think that there's still a higher ceiling with Trevion Henderson. So we'll take Rasheed Rice and Trevion Henderson. Now, Camden trading Rachaad White, Bucky, and Igbuka for JT. It is a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So don't get me wrong. This is very interesting, but I just think that you're going to be able to get more value for this. So I think we're going to keep the Bucs players. Now, JT Flea, running back, give me Judkins over JCM easily. Tight end, Fannin, Ertz going to be tough. You have no Terry, give me Ertz. If Terry plays, give me Fannin. And then, yeah, Rachaad White, assuming that you have no Bucky. Okay. And let's refresh this, send out some more. And it looks like we just hit 700 likes on the stream, so let's go ahead and let's send out some more free questions in the chat. So again, if you want to qualify to win those free questions, all you got to do is simple. Drop a like on the live stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chat in case you win, so I know who to send it to. And also, if you want to get guaranteed free questions, you can always do so by taking advantage of the offer on Underdog Fantasy. If you go to Underdog Fantasy and use promo code FLOCK, you will get $100 added to your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. Taking advantage of that offer with code FLOCK will get you those free questions for these live streams as well. We just spent the last 2+ hours answering these free questions. So you can tell we're answering a ton every single day. But let's see if we can find CD's nuts on the site. And if so, we'll send you over some free questions. Thank you again for hanging out with us in the stream, my guy. But pull this up. Okay, CDs. Nuts. Just found you. Just sent you over a free start sit question. I really appreciate you hanging out with us. Now, El Cubano trading Dak and Ferg for Hurts and Hunter Henry. Give me Hurts over Ferg, Hunter Henry, Dak, up to you. Honestly, I think it's a fair trade. I think it's up to you. If it was my team, I mean, Dak Prescott's averaging as many points per game as Jalen Hurts at this point, so I'm not going to mark the Hurts side as the winner, even though I really want to. I like the idea of selling high on Jake Ferg, though. Don't get me wrong. Flo says he's also asking for $15 fab, or do we ride? Oh, no, you make this trade. Assuming that we don't need Dylan Gabriel, so yeah, you don't. You go ahead and you sell Chase and Dylan Gabriel for Amon-Ra St. Brown. Like, again, the spread in this game moved from 14.5 points with Jake Browning to 14.5 points with Joe Flacco. It's going to be better. Don't get me wrong. It's not going to be great. Okay, so let me pivot over and let's get to some team reviews, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, if he's asking for $15 fab, throw him the $15 fab. Who cares? If you can pivot from Jamar Chase to Amon-Ra St. Brown, you want St. Brown. Okay. So let's start running through these. Slush Monkey, longtime member of the flock. Always happy to see him. Says, I'm devastated. We lost Neighbors, we lost Benson, and we lost Hampton. I think I can hold the playoff spot until Benson gets back, but any thoughts on how to improve? So here's the God honest truth, my friend. Trey Benson, when he comes back, maybe nothing. I drafted so much Trey Benson in best ball drafts. I thought I was going to be rich as hell. I was super excited. But he's never proven anything at the NFL level. So coming off a significant injury, there is no guarantee that he comes in and all of a sudden we're set. Like, do not be banking on that. I'm hoping it happens, but don't be relying on it. Now, pulling up our team with how it stands. First thing that I would do is I would cut Mason Taylor and I'd pick up either Chris Godwin or RJ Harvey. Realistically speaking, you're in a spot where you could go through and you can start Tucker Kraft every single week the rest of the season. Tucker Kraft's already gone through his bye week. So, cut Mason Taylor, pick up either Godwin or RJ Harvey. Your call. Quarterback, we have the elite QB. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex. So, absolutely love to see it. We are sitting with Josh Allen. A running back, we have McCaffrey. We have Trevion Henderson. So, in the short term, our running back 2 is Michael Carter. Not super exciting. In the long term, I think Hampton's going to come in and Hampton will make a difference for you. Don't get me wrong. And then wide receiver, we have 5 depth names and no top end options. So for me, the very clear play is you cut Mason Taylor, you pick up your call between Godwin and Harvey, and then if possible, if you could send one of your wide receivers, no matter who it is, if you could send, say, Devonta Smith and Michael Carter to go get to a running back that you're excited about over the next month, you do it. If you can send Jordan Addison and Michael Carter and go get to a running back you're excited about over the next month, you do it. We're 3-2. So say over the next 4 weeks, we fall to, say we lose 3 games, we win 1, we go to 4-5, then we get Amari and Hampton back. We're chilling, but I think I would just try to trade for a better running back too. I would say like the number one thing that I would want to do with this team is just not possible, is if you could instead go ahead and just sell 2 wide receivers in a 2-for-1 deal to get a better wide receiver, where you go like Jordan Addison and Devonta Smith, or say like Devonta Smith and Michael Pittman to up tier to London, to up tier to Rome Odunze. Like, that'd be an absolute no-brainer. But the thing is, in a 10-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format like yours, it's going to be just much easier said than done. But I'm going to be spamming offers like that, seeing if we could get anybody at all to bite. And if so, perfect. If not, then you probably just go ahead and ride the wave with Michael Carter here in the short term, bank on Hampton in the long term, or getting a Henderson breakout. And then again, I would drop Mason Taylor for either Chris Godwin or RJ Harvey and hope you get a breakout at one of those positions. As realistically, I think you can just bank on starting Tucker Kraft here with no problem. But I think that's all I have for you. Again, I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. And let me make sure you always have free questions. That way, in case you want to send anything over. But again, thank you for everything. Now, let's move this over to our next one. This is from Nico. It says, right now I need some help. This week was a bit brutal on me. Sitting decent record-wise and team-wise. Should I just hope to pull some wins and ride it out until the team is healthy, or work on some trades? I am a trading maestro. God dang. Did y'all see that? That's what the University of Texas degree gets you. the ability to read the word maestro. Oh, it put the fear of God into me when I first looked at it. But we got through it. God. And we made it out as a better man on the other side. But, so if I need to, I will. Well, excited to check this out. This is pretty funny name, pretty funny picture. We are 3-2. And we are the second to most valuable team in your league value-wise. And honestly, there's a very clear move that you make just right out the gate, and I think you're chilling. Cut Hassan Haskins and pick up Michael Carter. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a chance that Hassan Haskins is the starting running back in Los Angeles, but there's also a chance that instead it's Kamani Vidal. There's a chance they split it legitimately 50-50 where neither of them's viable. We saw Michael Carter this past week, and Michael Carter looks like he is the guy in Arizona. So cut Haskins, pick up Michael Carter. I'll do that easily. It's a 2 wide receiver, 1 flex format. So we have Danielson at quarterback. Long term, we have Bauer. Short term, we have Hunter Henry. So we're chilling here. Then wide receiver, we have Puka, Rome, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. We have Gibbs, Bucky in the long term. Right now, we have like Gibbs and Rico Dowdle in the short term. But we also have the long-term upside of Harvey and Amari Hampton. So running back 2 is just going to be a little bit of a question mark. I don't want to sell like Tedero and McMillan for a better running back 2, though, because realistically, you're just playing Ted McMillan in the flex spot anyway. So, like, if this week you can just play Rico Dowdle and then get Bucky Irving back next week, you have a loaded team. And, like, even worst case scenario, Chuba Hubbard plays. If you just drop Hassan Haskins and pick up Michael Carter, you're going to be viable here in the short term anyway. So I hate to keep it stupid simple, my friend. I don't think you need to make any trades. Now, if you were in a garbage spot where you were like 1-4, then sure, I'd say like, oh yeah, let's sell the long-term upside of Hampton. Let's just get something in this starting lineup right now. But that's not the case. You're 3-2. So if you're 3-2, I would rather just leave this as is, make the small waiver wire pivot, and let Bucky Irving and let RJ Harvey and let Amari Hampton get better in the long run. But yeah, this is a great, great team. But I really appreciate, I wish I had a trade for you. But I leave this as is. I love your team. I love this construction. The running back injuries hurt. But having Dowdle here kind of saves us. And I think you pick up Michael Carter, you're going to be fine. I'm going to send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you wanted to follow up with. But in reality, I think you're just riding. Okay. Now let's move this over to Boring Safe. It says, who do you think I could get for a better wide receiver 2, or should we keep everyone? So we're the Jackson 5. So here's the thing. It's an 8-team league where you only start 2 receivers in a flex. But JSN and Justin Jefferson are both wide receiver 1s in an 8-team format. So what the hell are you talking about trying to get a better wide receiver 2? You have 2 wide receiver 1s. I understand maybe Jefferson hasn't been elite so far this year. But who are you getting that's better? So we have the elite quarterback with Lamar in the long term. Obviously, we'll need an option for this week and next week, which we have Justin Herbert for. No harm, no foul there. I would actually consider, because realistically, you're just streaming quarterbacks over the next 2 weeks, right? We don't necessarily have to think long-term value here. The Green Bay Packers project to be the highest scoring offense in the league by a decent margin. So I would consider cutting Justin Herbert for Jordan Love. I have Herbert higher in my rest of season ranks, but you're just streaming options over the next 2 weeks till you get Lamar back. And Jordan Love projects being the highest scoring offense in the league, considering it's a really strong matchup. Against the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, looking at running back, we have Achane and Gibbs. Even in an 8-team league, both these are running back 1s. We have them as RB1, RB2. We have Hubbard, Harvey, Jordan Mason, Rashad White. So the name of the game in an 8-team format is completely ignoring the floor of these players and instead only caring about the ceiling. So if we're looking at like Chuba Hubbard as an example, I don't know what Hubbard's ceiling is now that we've seen that Rico Dowdle could be turning this into a committee. In an 8-team league, I think the play is you take the high floor option, but the low ceiling option in Chuba Hubbard. You send Hubbard and Jacoby Myers and go get the best wide receiver you possibly can. Like, obviously, it sucks having Lamar injured, but you're 4-1. We're thinking long-term upside here. Tyler Warren, even if it's an 8-team format, he's still a solid tight end 1, right? Regardless. So it's just stupid simple. You take Hubbard, you take Jacoby Myers, you send him in a 2-for-1 deal to either get back the best running back possible or the best wide receiver you can possible. I think you're already doing a great job taking advantage of your league mates on the waiver wire here. So I think you leave this as is outside of that one trade. But I mean, you have a great team here, even in an 8-team league. There's a reason you're 4-1 despite the Lamar injury. But I do think that, again, you would, at least for me, prefer starting Jordan Love this week as opposed to Justin Herbert, given the matchup specifically that Jordan Love has going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. Now, let me send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with, but don't stress about getting a better wide receiver too. I mean, like, you're chilling with Justin Jefferson as your wide receiver too, for sure. Now, let's move this over to A-Way. It says, already lost neighbors. I traded for Rice when I was in a stronger spot. Any moves or trades you think we should make? Thanks. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you, my guy. You only have one more week with no Rice. So you're in a fundamentally different position than you were previously. Now, we are 8th in this league when it comes to value. We are 2-3. We are 8th in this league when it comes to points scored as well. So we're kind of just slightly below average team up until this point. It's a league in which the depth matters. So here's the thing that sucks. Losing Hampton and losing Neighbors in a format in which you got to start like 6 skill positional players weekly, it puts you in a really tough position. So here, quarterback, you definitely, with these injuries, can't afford having an elite quarterback. If you had Allen, I'd probably be saying to sell him. So we have Justin Herbert and we have Bo Nix. We're completely fine with these two guys. We can just play the matchups with them weekly, right? Look at the options on the waiver wire, like Michael Penix is the best name, so we're going to leave that there. Going over to RB, we have Ashton Genty, playable in the short and long term. We have Hampton as the long-term piece. We have Swift already through the bye, obviously a strong play right now. We have Harvey as a long-term piece. We have Woody Marks, Kamani Vidal as depth options. And the wide receiver, we have Rice getting back next week. We have George Pickens playable at the moment. We have Ladd McConkey long-term, Alec Ayomanor and Brandon Ayuk. And then tight end, we have Tucker Kraft and Dallas Goedert. So your starting lineup for this week is Genty, Swift, Pickens, Ladd. And then your two flexes are probably like Woody Marks and RG Harvey. So like, realistically speaking, on a 2-3 team, you're not wanting to sell Rice. Because again, you only have Rice missing one more game. Like, Rice is guaranteed to come back in week 7, right? This isn't like an injury that we have a rough timeline of. So what I would probably look to do in this instance is I think I would try to go ahead. I think I would try to see if we could sell Amari and Hampton to somebody who can afford them. I'm trying to think realistically. So this is sorted by points scored. Is there, and you don't even need to get a running back in return, because here's the thing with your team. whoever you trade for is going to be feeling like a garbage flex for us, right? Flex is the biggest issue that we have. And you still do have the long-term upside here if it comes to what we're getting specifically with like RJ Harvey and Woody Marks here long-term wise. So I just think selling Hampton would be ideal. Like if you could send Amari and Hampton and Alec Aomanor and pivot over to like Deebo Samuel, I'd do it in a heartbeat for your team. If you could send Amari and Hampton and like RJ Harvey and get to Breece Hall, I would do it in a heartbeat. If you could send Amari and Hampton and and Harvey to get to Judkins, I would do it right away. I would send Amari and Hampton for AJ Brown. That team's not going to be able to trade for him. This team, I'd send Amari and Hampton for Sutton. I'd possibly send Amari and Hampton for Quentin Johnston. I'll say Dallas Goedert would be a very easy sell if you're able to get any value for him whatsoever. But realistically, you're probably not going to be able to get anything for Dallas Goedert. I think Goddard's in an awkward spot where he's too good to cut, but he's too bad where you're just simply not going to be able to trade him for anything. But you do have Tucker Kraft through the bye week already, so hypothetically, yeah, if you could sell Goddard in that Amari and Hampton deal, I would. But yeah, you're 2-3. You had the Neighbors injury, you had the Hampton injury, and this is going to hurt your team more than others because your team is a start 8 format as opposed to a start 7. So I actually do think selling Hampton on the cheap just to get a couple startable players in the flex on a 2-3 team makes sense for you here. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this, my friend. I'm going to go ahead and send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with. I'll be super happy to check it out for you. Now let's move this over to somebody who is always out here with us. I've looked at this league a couple times. This is TFES Rob. Says 2-3, 2 straight dubs. Love to hear it. We're turning it around. Looking to keep it going. Any advice is appreciated. Thanks as always, Mason. Keep killing the game. Appreciate you. So we are the 4th team in this league when it comes to value. We are the 6th team in this league when it comes to fantasy points scored, but it's a 14-team format. So realistically, we are unlucky to be 2-3 here, at least in my opinion, because you are above average in your points scored. Now, we may or may not have just taken a pretty big hit here when it comes to quarterback with the Kyler injury. Now, thank God we are sitting with Stafford, currently leading the NFL in passing in this week. He has a phenomenal matchup going up against the Baltimore Ravens. So you can just play Stafford now and hope that we get Kyler Murray back in. I would still probably prefer Kyler over Stafford in the long term. Because long-term wise, Stafford just has no rushing upside, so it's much tougher. Now, looking over at running back, we have Kyron Williams, Amari and Hampton, RJ Harvey, Jordan Mason. So the Amari and Hampton injury is going to hurt this team pretty bad. Because, again, it's a 14-team format. So you look at options on the waiver wire that we can backfill with. There aren't many. Like, I would say Joe Mixon's probably worth a roster spot in a 14-team league. But It's not like Joe Mixon's really helping us here in the short term. This is also a long-term piece. And we're 2-3, so our priorities still should be short-term rather than long-term. Now, wide receiver, we have Chase, Igbuka, Tet, Addison. So we have 4 startable receivers. So Kayshon Bouttie's never hitting your starting lineup. And we also lose Britton Strange to the IR too. So what I would do right now is I would cut Kayshon Boutte. I would pick up Joe Mixon. We're going to move Britton Strange to the IR. We're going to pick up Juwan Johnson. If you think Juwan Johnson's cooked at this point, given the other tight ends being good to go in New Orleans, instead, you could opt to go ahead and pick up Harold Fannin. Then looking at what we can do in terms of trades, obviously it's going to be dependent on your league mates, but if possible, I think I would try sending one of the depth wide receivers with Amari and Hampton to go get an upgrade at running back right now. Like, we have this sorted by points scored. So realistically speaking, we can check out the teams that are top in points. If this team has Jonathan Taylor, David Montgomery, you could offer them Amari and Hampton straight up for David Montgomery and see what they say. Because obviously once Hampton's back, you'd way rather have Hampton over Montgomery, but we just kind of need somebody that we can start right now. This team doesn't have any running back help. It's going to be tough to get a running back in a 14-team format, which is why my first thought is, like, can we make a waiver wire pivot? I would offer this team Amari and Hampton for Ashton Jeanty. If they say no, then I'd offer them Jordan Addison and Amari and Hampton to Ashton Jeanty. I need to move Hubbard down my rankings because even on a 2-3 team, I want to trade Hampton for Hubbard. There aren't many trade partners you can make. Like, looking at all these teams, like, because what you need to find in a trade partner that'd be excited to trade for Hampton is somebody that has expendable running back depth, right? Which at this point, that is very hard to find in a 14-team league. So again, cut Boutte, cut Strange, pick up Mixon, pick up Juwan. I would try sending Jordan Addison and Amari Hampton to get the best running back that you can. Like, this team has 4 startable running backs. If you could send Jordan Addison and Amari Hampton to get to Breece, to get to Judkins, to get to Javonte, that'd be a no-brainer. This team has Alvin Kamara at RB, and I'm going to have to move Scat down. Actually, I can't move Scat lower than he is. This team has Kamara at running back, depending on the news that we get with Kamara tomorrow. Maybe you're willing to just flip Hampton for Kamara if Kamara's going to be playing this weekend. But yeah, I think that's the leverage point that you have on this team. But again, make those waiver wire pivots because it'd be really nice if we could just hit on a running back off waivers. And then obviously we're going to have to, you're not going to be able to afford a trade for a tight end. Like, you're going to have to just backfill the tight end off of the waiver wire itself, whether you're going for Juwan, whether you're going for Harold Fannin, that's going to be up to you. But I really appreciate you. Let me go ahead and send you over some free trade question vouchers just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with. I'll be super happy to take a look at it for you, my guy. And again, thank you so much for always hanging out with us in these streams. Okay. Now let's move this over to our next question. This one is a screenshot, so we're going to save that so we can keep rolling. This is from P Money. It says, running back injuries are killing me. That's why I have so many. Should I try and trade one of my good wide receivers? So I'm actually going to need to pull your name up here. Give me 1 second. This is Florida. Okay. Yeah. So this is a start 8 format, right? So realistically, you're going to be starting 6 skill positional names here weekly. So quarterback, tight end, not going to matter as much for me in this format as they would in a start 7 league. Now, we have the elite quarterback with Jaden Daniels, and we have Tucker Kraft, who we can start at tight end every single week. So I would say the first thing that I'm going to look at is Rashad Smith. They told us they were going to expand his role. They're just using this guy on kick returns. Like, it still very much is a backfield that is being split 3 ways. So for me, I would go ahead and I would cut Rashad Smith. I would pick up Jamison Williams. If you didn't want to cut Rashad Smith, you could cut Mason Taylor instead. But Jamison Williams, somebody you have to pick up on your team with these league settings. Like, he is a viable flex. I know he's been horrible through the first month of the season, but he's the same guy he's always been. He's going to have a lot of bad games. He's going to have a couple of really good games. Then running back, we have Rachaad White, Rico Dowdle that we can play in the short term. So we are just having to hit on waiver wire running backs until we get Amari and Hampton back. What is our current record? We're 3-2. Scored 651 points. Wide receiver, we have Jefferson, Pickens, Waddle, Brian Thomas in the lineup for now. And then we get CeeDee Lamb in here in the long term. So really, it's just how can we survive until we get back one of Amari and Hampton, or preferably 2 of Amari and Hampton, Trey Benson, and CeeDee Lamb. It's not like we're going to have Lamb out that much longer. I think that this team's fine as is. If you had a losing record, I would go ahead and I would try to sell Amari and Hampton, but you being 3-2, picking up Rachaad White, Rico Dowdle kind of saves your spot here. And given the context of your team, I actually do like rostering as many of these bottom end running backs as possible. So instead of cutting Rashad Smith for Jamison Williams, I would still cut him, don't get me wrong, because I'd rather have Tajee Spears. I'd rather have Kamani Vidal to see what that turns into. But I think you cut Smith, you pick up either Spears or Vidal, and then you cut Mason Taylor, pick up Jamison Williams, continue to play the waiver wire game. You're in a good spot, potentially go 4-2 after this week, where then you could even afford to lose a week, and you're just fighting to stay 500 until we get Amari and Hampton back in, and then we're going to be golden. And realistically, you're doing a good job with the waiver wire. I really like the construction of this team with how you're set with just as many running backs down here on the bench as possible. That way we can find Rachaad White, we can find Rico Dowdle, and then we can find the next Rachaad White. We can find the next Rico Dowdle. So, yeah, I honestly don't think you do a trade with this team. Now, if you drop the next 2 weeks and you fall to 3-5, then at that point, or if you drop the next 2 weeks, you'd fall to 3-4. It's not even in the world. If you drop the next 3 weeks and we fall to 3-5, then hell yeah, we're trying to sell Martin Hampton to Trey Benson to get any viable running backs in the short term. But with you having the winning record right now, I think you're kind of fine chilling with this as is. And then just continue to work the waiver wire. And how I'd work the waiver wire is I'd cut Smith. I'd pick up your favorite guy between Spears and Vidal. And then I'd cut Mason Taylor and pick up Jamison Williams. But I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. I'm going to go ahead and send you over some free questions. And again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock. Now let's move this over to our next one. That's going to be from GT007. It says, currently 4-1. Thoughts on trading Igbuka on the high and trying to get another solid running back to complement Jacobs. Walker just isn't cutting it for me. Would also like some guidance on the bench depth. You rock, Mason. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. And I'll be excited to check this out. I do need to give out some free questions in the stream real quick. So give me 1 second for that. Looks like we had 800 likes on the stream. So I want to remind y'all, if you have not done so already, if y'all want to enter to win free questions, all you got to do is drop a like on the live stream and then drop your flockfantasy.com username in the chats. That way, what's it called? If you win the giveaway, I know who to send it to. But I don't know if there's anything else to say with that. We don't need to hit y'all with the 1,000th underdog read. I'm too tired for that. Let's just send this out. To Chemex Best. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this stream. And let me see if I can find you on the site. Chemex DB. Okay, I cannot find you. Let me refresh and see if that's going to fix it, or maybe you didn't use code flock. Okay, Chemex DB. I can't find you. I don't know if you use code flock or not. If you didn't, you can add it to your account page. That way, next time you win, if I search you, I'll see you. Let's send this to I don't know football. Just found you and just sent you over a free start sit question. Appreciate you hanging out with us in this live stream. Okay. Now, GT, currently 4-1. Thoughts on trading Igbukah on the high and trying to get another solid running back to complement Jacobs. Walker just isn't cutting it for me. I would also like some guidance on the bench depth. You rock, Mason. Thank you. Thank you, my guy. So we are currently third in this league when it comes to value. This is an 8-team format. So 8-team, 2 wide receiver, 1 flex league. Ultimately, the skill positional depth is meaningless. The depth pieces that we want to be building around on the bench, the only thing that matters with them will be upside, upside, upside. Now, looking at quarterback and looking at tight end, we have Josh Allen and Trey McBride. Absolutely love seeing it. Because, again, they're going to make up a significantly high percentage of our starting lineup output, and it's going to be easy to pick up running backs. It's going to be easy to pick up wide receivers off the waiver wire, as, like, right now we can see you have Godwin, you have Harvey, you have Matthew Golden, you have Shakir, you have Jawan Jennings. You have a bunch of these depth pieces on waivers. Now, going over to running back, we have Jacobs as our RB1. Jacobs is the RB1 on my team at this point. I've officially moved him on the depth chart ahead of Saquon Barkley. But like 12-team format, super excited to have Jacobs my RB1. 8-team league, not so much. Kenneth Walker, RB2 in an 8-team league is garbage. Dobbins, Rashad White, Woody Marks, Zach Charbonnet, Joe Mixon. I'm going through and looking at the options that you have on the waiver wire here at running back. If Joe Mixon is on your IR, then obviously ignore me. Leave him as is. But if Joe Mixon was on your actual bench, I would cut Joe Mixon in favor of RJ Harvey. Going over to receiver, we have Jefferson, Igbukah, Rashee Rice, Keenan Allen, and Ricky Pearsall. So in general, when we get Rice back in, we'll have Jefferson and Rice long-term if you were to sell Igbukah. I will say you cannot sell Igbukah right now. Because realistically, you have no Rashee Rice this week, and at the same time, you have no Justin Jefferson this week. I don't want to be rolling out there in an 8-team league with Keenan Allen and Ricky. You wouldn't even have another wide receiver you could start. So you need to keep Igbukah right now at the very minimum. But after this week, if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to sell him in a 2-for-1 deal with Kenneth Walker to go get to an elite level RB, I'm not going to fault you for it whatsoever. Because realistically, you could backfill wide receiver depth with guys like Chris Godwin, Matthew Golden. Now, in terms of looking at the running backs that we would actually want to make that play for, this is sorted by this league with running back. Obviously, Kenneth Walker and Igbukah for CMC is a no-brainer. I'll do it for Gibbs. I'll do it for Jonathan Taylor. I do it for Bijan Robinson. Like, those are the 4 players that I would be looking at for sure. It's tough to assume anybody beyond that because afterwards you have like the tier of Devon Achane, which you could definitely get to, don't get me wrong. But you would really need to have Jefferson and Rashee Rice back at that point. But I think that's all I have for you, my guy. I'm going to go ahead and send you over some free questions just in case there's anything else that you want to follow up with me. So I don't hate the idea, but I do think you need to be waiting until after this next week. But I really appreciate you and hope I was able to help you out in some way with this. Now let's move this over to our next one, which is going to be C. Franco says, what moves should I do, if any? I'm currently 2-3. I lost week 5 because I find it hard picking between May and Dak. What moves can I make to upgrade my team, possibly wide receiver and tight end? Since I have 3 starting running backs, we need help. Okay, pain in the ash. We are the 5th team in the league analyzer here. We've scored 630 points. We're 2-3. Okay. So I actually threw Cam Scatterbo on my trade block earlier this week, and I don't mind at all you going through and doing the same thing here. So I know we have Christian Watson back at practice for the Packers. This is a league in which you can start 4 wide receivers weekly, so the depth here matters. But the main thing with your team is like, our starting lineup is Achane, Ginty at running back. We have Wilson, Waddle at receiver. Then we have Diggs, Scat in the flexes. And then your depth beyond it's your bench players aren't exciting. So if you were to go through and if you were to sell Cam Scatterbo and Zach Ertz and go get an upgrade at tight ends, like you're all of a sudden asking DJ Moore to go into the starting lineup when you have no buys and you have no injuries. And then once you get a bye or an injury, Wan'Dale Robinson's sliding in for you. So I don't think you can afford to trade for an upgrade at quarterback or tight end right now. Don't get me wrong, in the long term, you'll be able to. But I think what you're going to need is you're going to need to hit on another skill positional player. Which, for me, maybe I'm an idiot here, but I think I would opt to have Joe Mixon over Troy Franklin on the bottom end of my roster. And then in terms of waiver wire pivots that we can make with the onesies, not really. You're already doing a great job there. So I hate to say it, but you sell that third running back, your flex is just going to be bad. It's a league in which that matters because it's a start 8 format. So I would just go ahead and wait until we get like a breakout from Harvey, or wait until you can pick up a breakout running back or wide receiver from waivers. And then at that point, when we have the expendable player where we have a couple names on the bench and we're excited about getting into the lineup, you can go through and upgrade at tight end or quarterback. I don't think you can afford it here though. Now, I really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you out. And again, thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my guy. I wish I had more for you. But let's move this over to our next question. This is from Bone, says, should I make any moves? Great start to the year. Had an offer of Drake May and Javonte for Ginty. Haven't accepted a decline that yet. Just wanted to know your thoughts. Been a member for 3 years now. Thanks. Thank you, my friend. Let me go ahead and send you over a couple questions. So it's a 1 quarterback format. May is still just in the range. I mean, he's an upgrade over who we have. Don't get me wrong. So realistically, with your team, I wouldn't mind at all trading Genty for May and Javonte. My hesitation with selling Genty now, of course, is they're going up against the Titans. This is the blow-up game for them. It's a start 8 format, so the depth with the skill positional guys matters a bit. We have Jonathan Taylor, Ashton Genty at running back, so 2 hammers at RB. We have Puka, Rome, Marv, Devonta Smith. So we have 4 startable wide receivers. And again, that's going to be very relevant just given the depth and how it matters in a league like this. We have Tyler Warren, Juwan Johnson at tight end, and we have Kyler Murray and Jackson Dart at quarterback. So you can see this with the league analyzer. One, in our league, we're 4-1. We have the most points scored in this league by a country mile. With the league analyzer says we're the best team at wide receiver in this league. We're the 3rd best team at tight end. We're the 4th best team at running back. I like the idea of, honestly, I really like that trade. Because I'm sitting here going, like, I like the idea of us upgrading quarterback. That's definitely our biggest need, especially with the Kyler injury. And with Jackson Dart, like, he would have been exciting if it wasn't for the Malik Neighbors injury, right? Like, Dart does give you some rushing upside, but with Neighbors going down, it just puts you in such a tough spot. So you want to upgrade quarterback, but realistically speaking, it's a deep league. Like, our best guy on the bench is like Kendrick Miller, maybe Troy Franklin, Isaiah Bond, somebody like that. Nobody we want to get into the starting lineup. So selling like Marvin Harrison for an upgrade at QB is not going to be doable for us because we need that flex play. So I actually like the idea of us slightly down tiering at running back while at the same time getting a QB upgrade. But yeah, I really like this spot. And then looking at the waiver wire wise, I mean, your league mates know what they're doing. There's not much available to us on the waiver wire. So I actually think I completely agree. I want to make that trade. And then afterwards, we're chilling. There's not much you want to, like, your team's great, right? We have Jonathan Taylor and Puka Nacua. We're the number 1 team in this league in value and the number 1 team in this league at points. So there's not much we can say, but I got to go take care of the dog. Okay, I'm sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. But let me go ahead and let me make sure. Did I send you over the questions? Yeah, I did. I wish I had more for you, but I agree. Make that trade, and you have a great team, especially after you make the trade because you have a better quarterback room. Now, this next one's coming from Andy. Says 3-2, 7th in this league in points. Looking to make some changes, but unsure where to start. Once Lamar's back, looking to trade Fields and Jennings or Jacoby for a wide receiver / running back upgrade. Should I stream DST or hold the Seattle Seahawks? So I actually have Seattle on my own team. I was looking at it earlier today. Like, Seattle has 2 bad matchups. Then they have the bye, and then they have a stretch of great games, and they are a solid defense, but realistically, I put in a waiver wire bid for them tonight. I mean, sorry, for me to pick up the Raiders tonight. I'm just going to stream DST myself. That's the conclusion I came to. And then Waiver order for I have no idea, my guy. Waiver order for those options, I am clueless. But looking to trade Fields and Jennings or Jacoby for. So here's the thing, man. I'm going to be completely honest with you. There's not going to be a single person in your league that is willing to trade for, and I hate to say this, Juwan Jennings, that is willing to trade for Jacoby Myers. Like, I would like to sell them, but if you have the wide receiver depth like that, you're going to have to look to sell somebody higher and you slide those other wide receivers into your lineup. Like, so I know, and let's pull up this team, right? We have Lamar and Fields at quarterback, so we're chilling. We have Sam Laporte at tight end, so we're chilling. I 100% agree. Like, Fields is somebody that you can sell, even though we have the Lamar injury and even though we have Lamar on bye next week. Because realistically, you can just pick up Caleb to play over the next 2 weeks, right? So as we look at this, if you could sell Fields in a 2-for-1 deal to get an upgrade at wide receiver, I agree with it, and you could just backfill with Caleb. Then looking at running back, we have Barkley, Judkins, Etienne, Montgomery. So we have a phenomenal RB room. We have the depth. Depth's going to matter in this format because it's a start 8 league. Wide receiver, we have Nico, Quentin Johnson, DK Metcalf, Olave, Jacoby, Juwan Jennings. So I completely agree with your sentiment of wanting to sell a wide receiver depth piece when we have so much depth, we don't exactly need it to get an upgrade inside the starting lineup. But with that being said, if I'm just going to be honest here, like obviously we look at a ton of trades, we look at a ton of teams every single day. Nobody's trading for Jennings, nobody's trading for Jacoby. They are playable names, don't get me wrong. But instead, I think if you were actually going to be selling a wide receiver, what you're going to have to sell is you're going to have to sell Quentin Johnston. You're going to have to sell DK Metcalf. And then you'll just slide up Chris Olave into your lineup. So if you wanted to go like Fields and Quentin Johnston, let's see if there are any teams in your league that really need help at QB. This team has Matthew Stafford as their QB1. They also had Jake Browning. Like, if you can go, say, Fields and DK Metcalf and get to Devontae Adams, get to Jalen Waddle, I would love it. This team has Brock Purdy and Kyler Murray both injured. If you could send them Fields and Nico Collins and get to CeeDee Lamb, let's do it. Now, you're a 3-2 team. I'm sorry, 3-2 team. You can wait for Lamb to come back. Okay. This team has Drake May if they want Fields. You can offer them Fields and Metcalf for Sutton for George Pickens. And then again, you can just go ahead and you can just pick up Caleb for free. But I think that would be the deal rather than trying to sell Jacoby, rather than trying to sell Jennings. Because again, realistically speaking, it's just not, that's not getting it done for you. And then outside of that, I don't necessarily think that there's anything else that we are wanting to do here. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I think you have a solid team overall. You have a lot of depth pieces, and of course, we would like to transition some of that bench depth into the starting lineup points. But let me go ahead, and I'm going to send you over some free questions. I wish I had something for you when it comes to waiver wire pivots, but realistically, there aren't any. There aren't any players in the waiver wire that are better than what you have in your lineup. But again, really appreciate you and really hope I was able to help you on some way. I just sent you over those free questions. So if there's anything else that you want to follow up with, I'd be super happy to take a look at it for you. Let's mark that complete. Let's refresh these and let's actually pull up. And then we had some more trade and start set questions come in. So this is from Dark Unit, trading Jacobs for Igbook. I'd rather have Jacobs. Like I have Jacobs, especially Jacobs going to go. I mean, he's already gone through his bye, so you're going to get an extra game played out of him. Give me Josh Jacobs here. Lay Scout for tight ends. Darren Waller versus Goddard's close. I think you probably go Waller. And then down on the bench, you're going to plan on Michael Carter here. Assuming you have no Evans and obviously no Lamar with Flowers. Now, General Daddy, running back, we're going to go with the combo of Kamara and Pollard. I'm assuming that those will be the only two guys that play. Wide receiver, we would usually go Nico, but he's not going to play, so we got to go Dobbs, Shakir in the flex. Obviously, you can take out Dobbs and move Shakir to wide receiver, put Bucky in the flex. Bucky plays, but he probably won't. And then at tight end, we're going to go with, I go Hunter Henry over Darren Waller. And let me actually sign out, sign back in, so we can keep this thing going. So we've been live for a while. Been live for about 3 hours. Okay. Let's refresh this. Okay, we're not too backed up on questions. Good. I'll probably do the 3-hour stream leading to kickoff tomorrow. Okay, this is from General Daddy. Oh, we already said this. Let's submit that. Now, Chris says, lucky 3-2. Feel like I need depth. Do we make this trade? If not, what can we change to make it work? Hell to the no. You just need a significantly better piece if you're selling Josh Allen. Right now, at running back, you have Breece and Dowdle that you can play. You have London. And I agree with you. You actually need depth. But you just need a significantly better option than Diggs and DeAndre Swift, please. Now, Cheddar Rig for the flex, I would play Quentin Johnston over Stephon Diggs, larger sample this season. And also, I think the Chargers are going to have to throw the ball a ton after losing Hampton and Breece. Now, Cali Jack, always happy to see you. Trading Kyron White and Sutton for Bijan and Brian Thomas. Yeah, Bijan, completely different tier player in this deal. We're going to go with him. And he's already through the bye as well, which I like. Now, Tyler, wide receiver. I'm sorry, in the flex, you have Walker as an option too. We can't play Walker, though. I would go A.J. Brown over Diggs and Walker. Averaging like 8 targets a game over the past month. Now, Alejandro, running back. We're going to take Michael Carter. And then in the flex spots, we go Marvin, Devonta Smith. Issue, I mean, you can pivot to Bourne if we are told before the Eagles game tomorrow that you will have both Pearsall and Jennings missing. Case Alliner trading Breece to St. Brown upgrade. St. Brown and Breece versus JS. What would you have left over at running back? Because we're downgrading at tight end too. Here's the thing for me. Do I want to go the rest of the year having Chase Brown, Tony Pollard, and Chuba Hubbard as my running backs? Probably not. So I would probably hold on to Breece Hall here. Heifer trading Igbuka for Derrick Henry. I'd rather have Igbuka over Henry in a PPR format. Non-PPR league, give me, possibly give me Henry. But full PPR, give me Igbuka. Chopped Onion trading Mar for ETN. I have ETN ranked higher. Who do you have at receiver? Yeah, wide receiver, you have Igbuka and Puka, so you're chilling. So go get ETN. Now, I went to Jared trading Bucky and Tet for Judkins and Waddle. Bucky to Judkins, slight downgrade. Tet to Waddle, downgrade. I guess if you're like 1-4, you do this deal, or if you're 0-5. But outside of that scenario, I think you keep Bucky. Now, CD's nuts. Here, running back. F it. I'm going to go Dowdle if Hubbard doesn't play. The matchup's too good. And we go with Tet at wide receiver. The matchup's too good. And then we'll just end up going Judkins in the flex. But yeah, you play both Panthers. Now, our Mercado trading Fields for Bo Nix, downgrade. Breece to JSN, upgrade. Wilson to Ladd, downgrade. Leftover at running back, we'd have Bucky. And then our RB2 is RJ Harvey. Yeah, so I'm going to hold on to the Chiefs here. I'm going to hold on to the Jets here, Chief. Yeah, I don't think your team's good enough to be selling Breece Hall. But it's about midnight here. I got to spend the next few hours recording, prepping our quarterback, tight end, and DST rankings for y'all. And it's already super late, so I got to call it here. The in-laws are also coming in. It's my birthday weekend this weekend, so don't you worry. I'll still be streaming every single day like I always do. But so it'd be nice if I could go to sleep at some point. But I will remind you all, of course, if you wanted to get guaranteed questions or free questions for these live streams, the number one way you could take advantage of this is by using the offer on flockfantasy.com. I'm sorry, on Underdog Fantasy. Or if you go to Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, you'll get $100 out of your account after you play your first 5. And on top of that, you'll get a free Jalen Hurts gimme pick, higher, lower, half a total yard for tomorrow night's game as well. Underdog Fantasy is available in almost every single state. And you'll get free questions for these live streams. I mean, y'all just saw I answered paid team reviews for about an hour today, and we answered the free questions for over 2 hours. So the majority of people getting questions in these live streams, it's because they took advantage of the Underdog offer. So you can find that link in the description and comment section. I really appreciate y'all and really hope I get to see you out in the